efficiency, cheap, builds capacity to change and achieve greater effectiveness by developing, improving, and reinforcing strategies, structures, processes, and more. Our third speaker is a graduate of tourism and culture from Caritas Institute, an institute located in Iserlohn City, Germany. He is also a graduate of Hotel and Restaurant Services Technology from West Visayas State University, Haniway, Iloilo. As to his experience, he worked for 11 years in the different field of industry, gaining different skills and expertise. He started his career as clinic assistant in Germany for 2 years. After finishing his 2-year contract in Germany, he went home and changed career path and worked as program associate in Light Bank Foundation in Iloilo from June 2016 to December 2017. He also worked as a receptionist and HR assistant in Yearsol Philippines Incorporation from March 2011 to August 2018, and front office staff of Philips Hotel in Boracay. Presently, he is the operations manager of the Miras Tierra Verde Leisure Farm. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the owner, please welcome Sir Albert A. Paduginog. Back to you, Doc Jeff.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. By the way, my name is Albert Paduginog, the operations manager of the Miras Hill. So by the way, before I proceed, bation ako.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are.
Good afternoon.
All right. Good afternoon. So anyhow, in behalf of Honorable Paulo El Tirador, actually he will be best fit for speaking for this time. Yet unfortunately, Paulo and his family is in Norway as of the moment. So there's no other choice, but I will be representing the Miras Hills Tierra Verde for speaking for this afternoon. So for that, I will be sharing my screen for a moment. All right. Nag-appear naman siya, no?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so again. So the Miras Hills Tierra Verde is actually located in Haniway, Iloilo. So I will be discussing that the Miras Hills Tierra Verde Leisure Farm, organization development, and best resort management practices. So for that, I will be showing you the outline, which is the Miras Hills history and growth through years, the Miras Hills experience, organizational development practice of the resort, and best resort management practices with the Miras Hills. So at the end, of course, we will be having the Q&A. So for that, I will show you first a video which also showcases the entire property, including Mr. Paulo Tirador for a moment. Okay, so for the outline na to, no, I will be, of course, be sharing the thoughts and the ideas of running a resort. And based on the previous natin ng mga speakers, they already said and told the details about the theories and, of course, the experiences in the industry. But for my side, I will be referring not only the theory side of the organizational development, but I will be sharing to you the real case scenario on how to run a resort, or let's say the hospitality industry in this field. All right. So for that, I will be sharing to you the history of the Mires Hills. So to start, the Mires Hills is actually located in Barangay Damires, Haniway, Iloilo, and it is a 45-minute drive from the city. So may ara kita nga mga salakyan from the city going to Haniway by means of by van or even by a jeepney. So may ara kita mga salakyan sinadira. So for the 42-hectare na property ni Damiris Hills, the 14-hectare of the entire property is the developed area is 14 hectares, and also that includes the farm, as you can see on the picture. So also we are developing some of the areas as of the moment because we had lots of projects way back before na stagnant due because of the pandemic. So for that, it started as a private resort and it is officially open for the public last October 10, 2010. So actually the resort opened even before 2010, yet it officially opened as a with a structure and a system starting October 10, 2010. So the services and facilities are starting with the overnight accommodations. We have 20 deluxe hotel rooms, 6 family rooms, and 3 standard rooms. So that is for our accommodations. And also for the other services like the daytime experience, we have the Balay Umar restaurant, Norma's coffee shop, and daytime cottages that serves our guests that doesn't wanted to stay for an overnight and also wanted to enjoy the activities during the day. So for the food experience, I also will provide a video for you to see so that you can experience the mirror sales even just on a video for a moment. Yeah, so for the video that you have watched, it's the food that we have, or one of the foods that we serve in the Mirror Sales, where basically the food that we serve is Filipino cuisine. So for the next one, for our functions and events, we cater weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, and of course, other special occasions. And for the events, we have the function halls that we have, the Waling-Waling Hall, Ilang-Ilang lawn area, and other areas can also be utilized while you're there. So we also cater private accounts and also the government accounts. So for the activities, we have the ATV, canopy walk, and hanging bridge experience, zip line, KTV, swimming pool, and farm tour. And for the resort experience, also again, I will be showing you another video.
Sir Albert,
Yes, ma'am.
wala ga play ang mga
Wala
video.
alright. Sige, sige.
Or
I-ano ko
from
lang
the
yun.
and then at saka yung ano, yung food
Ay,
videos nyo wala. At saka yung isang pinakauna, hindi siya nag-play.
hindi siya nag-play. Hindi siya
Oo.
lumabas sa inyo?
Oo.
Alright, sige. Wait lang. For the video. Well, I just check it again for a moment. Hindi nag-a-appear, ma'am, yung video.
Wala ga play ang video, sir.
Let me check, be. I'll play the other video, ha. This time, nag-a-appear na siya?
Wala
Hindi
gapon,
pa din po,
sir.
sir.
Ay,
Wala
hindi
pa
siya
din
nag-
po.
Sir.
Alright, for a moment.
Stop share siguro, Anay. Yes.
Sige, for a moment lang, ha. Miss Meneses,
Yes, Sir Albert.
pero now, the screen is sharing ba?
Wala pa rin. Dokisay ba si maka-help ka kay Sir Albert?
Um, why don't you try po, sir, to stop share and then you share again the screen po. But this time po, sir, instead of choosing only the slide, share entire screen po, sir, and then share with sound.
Let me try, no? So, you go to new share, tama ba?
Or you stop share lang sa daw for the meantime, sir.
Sige. Stop share. Then, alright.
And then you share screen po, sir, and then before ka mag-proceed po, you choose share entire screen. And
Ayan,
then
lumalabas sa akin is one participant can share at a time and multiple participants, something.
okay, let me just check po, sir, ha. I'll try to make you the co-host again.
Yes, yes, please.
You are already the co-host, sir, so you can try to share your screen. And then once you click po, sir, you you choose the entire screen option instead of the PowerPoint only. And then in the bottom part, sir, there is a choice for share sound and optimize for video clip. You just kindly tick those boxes before clicking share po.
Kasi pinakalabas siya dito, webinar Microsoft PowerPoint lang. Pero paano yung buo? Screen, alright. Sige, sige.
Yes po, sir.
Alright, sige. Okay, lumalabas na ba?
Yes, sir.
Alright, sige. I'll show again the video on the first part, ah. Alright.
Okay. Kita na po siya, sir. But
Yes.
did you click the sir, the choice below? There is a tiny text below before sharing, sir, nga share with sound and optimize for. You just go back to the same step, sir. Okay na po yun siya, yung share entire screen, but before proceeding po, you just click in the bottom part po. I think in the
Share
bottom,
sound. Yeah,
share
alright.
with sound.
Sige. Thank you. All right. This one.
Okay na po, sir.
All right, thank you.
Sound na po. Thank you.
This area used to be just idle land. And over there, our family farm. But the rest were just hills with a view. A beautiful view. But this place always made my family feel at home. So we thought, why not share this to everyone? And so we decided to open a resort here. It's become the perfect destination for making wonderful memories with your friends, family, your dog, and even by yourself. Whether it's the food, our outdoor activities, or our Ilaya Spa, every moment in Damiris is a memory for a lifetime. But it's also the human touch that makes everything better. Our employees are very accommodating and always gives our guests a wonderful experience. So come home to nature. We can't wait to have you here.
All right. So that is Paulo Tirador, our Vice President for the operations and also a counselor of Pototanos of this time. So I also have to show again the video of the food for the food experience. Okay, so that was the glimpse of the areas and places and services of the Damiris Hills. So now I will be sharing to you the other services of our resort. So let's proceed with the activity. So we have the ATV canopy walk, hanging bridge experience, zipline, KTV, swimming, and farm tour. So within the resort, these activities are done, and also alongside is the farm tour. So now, the new attraction for the resort is the Ilaya Retreat Spa, which is founded last 2 years ago, and the director of the spa is Anthony La Cruz. So they also serves massage, sugiilig, which is the Filipino version of the Tai Chi, wellness and love coaching, and he also have the service for tarot card reading. So now, as we proceed with our discussion, this on the screen, as you see, that is our organizational chart. Well, actually, this is not really detailed due because of some of the changes during the pandemic and because of the layoffs and the redundancy of our structure. Okay, so basically, wait. An organization based on the topic that we have to discuss is it is composed of people where various ideas, talents, and skills are combined. And with that, we are heading to a common goal for us to have a good service. So for the organizational development, we have the practitioner, or else we also call it the operations manager, which is the position that I'm handling right now, or a leader or a head of a specific department. So with that position, you have to do the coaching and the counseling, which is you have to impose and to deliver it to the other department heads, and of course, the department heads will deliver it to the staff. All right. So one of the problems of these as of this time is actually the constant change due because of the rapid change of the demands in the market and also because of the pandemic, like for example. So with that, with the constant change, problems arises and also customers unpredictable demands. So damo kita sa mga experiences as of the moment regarding with the constant change, especially with the fast transition between the pandemic and to the reopening of all the businesses, including the resorts. So for that, the organization development practitioner will do the coaching. Of course, we set the goals. So of course, before you play a certain game, you have to make plans or the strategic plan for your entire team. So as I am discussing this, I wanted to shorten the version because I think the first speaker this morning, Doc Young, already discussed the details about this. So I will be just discussing the details on how the Miris Hills is handling its organization development. So aside from that, the HR will also take part in doing these tasks for us to be able to provide the tools for our staff, for them to be able to provide a quality service that our guest needs. And for the organizational development practitioner also, they also need, or I also need to do the counseling. So for the counseling, of course, it's not only my decision. At the end of the day, it is a collaboration of all the ideas, experiences of our staff as well, for us to be able to come up with a certain ideas that we can have plans for the next days of operations for us to be able to improve things. So next to that, of course, the action research approach will come in. So we start with the plan. You plan for the operations on how you think that the operations will go smoothly through the entire day. And of course, within the planning, you also have to do the action. So this is the utilization and the materializing of the plans that you have discussed with the entire team. So during the application of such a plan, the entire property will have, or the managers, I mean, sorry, will do the observation if those plans or those strategic planning that we have discussed or that we have been utilizing is properly working for a smooth operation. So right after which, the end part, of course, is the reflection or the monitoring of the entire operations based on the plan, on the action, and on the observation on the entire operation, not only on a long basis, but also in a daily basis of the operation. So again, it will go back to the plan so that whatever happens during the entire operations, the plans actually will take in again to improve what is the weak part of the planned strategy on the previous strategic plans. So amo na siya magkapot sang aton nga. Baligwa niya, it's a circulation of a routine. All right. So with that, because I think the most important thing in a certain organization is the best management practices. I know there's really a lot of practices that may apply to a certain industry or a certain business, but not everything is applicable because it really depends on the demand and on the structure of a certain business. So for us in the Miras Hills, one of the best lists of practices is, of course, we'll start with the new media. So with the new media, as we know, the hospitality industry can use new media as a form of quality control. So now it is not just the comments directly from the guests, but also because as we know, in this field of industry, there are different types of guests. There are guests that is very vocal, and there are guests which is very silent. So for us to be able to monitor the quality service that we have, is we have to check our Facebook accounts or other platforms for us to be able to see the comments of our guests, for us to be able to improve and also to acknowledge our staff or the people who's working with us, for us to be able to improve in our operations. Next is the guest involvement. So this is the opposite of the new media, because the new media it's already a written form or a video form, while this guest involvement is most likely directly from the guest itself. So feedback from the visitors through printed or online assessment forms, efforts that are made to involve guests and are conducive to improving guest satisfaction, ensure the integrity of the facility service philosophy. So most likely, we really have to cater such a concerns, such a compliments from the guests, because through this, the practices that we have can improve for a better and to make most likely our operations to a perfect version from the previous one. Next is the culture of the company. Actually, this is the part of my discussion that I have to give an emphasis because based on my experience prior to my Damiris Hills experience as the operations manager, I was working with Philips Hotel Boracay and I started as a pioneer. This is something that these or the people who's listening right now, you really have to give the culture an emphasis to run an organization. I think this is also a word or a statement from Captain, who is previously the speaker of the for today's webinar. He also emphasizes the culture because I think no matter what are the plans of a certain organization and whatever are the beauty of the system, as long that there is no culture that have been started to whatever plans that you have, as long that you don't have a culture, everything will fall down. So I think this is one of the things that is really needed for those who are planning to indulge into this kind of business, especially into this hospitality industry, because culture is really a must, not only here in the Philippines, but also basing it on my experience working abroad. Culture is something that you really have or really must have by a person that must be injected starting from the HR or from the recruitment process. And lastly, before I end the topic, the most important thing of the best practices in this industry or whatever industry is, you have to treat your staff as an asset, not a liability. Because as we know, all of the staff, including whatever position you may have in the organization, the very basic thing that they're happy of is of course the compensation and benefits that they can have from the property. So as I knew from a certain company in Boracay, they have this kind of system because they really treat their people well, because at the end of the day they knew that when they treat people well they will be given back a good service that will reflect back to the company and of course to the performance of the people. So I think I must not elaborate much because I think Dr. Young already discussed the details and technicalities of the organizational development. But of course, I have to emphasize the um, the, the practice of the mirror skills, and of course, the emphasis of, I think the most important thing on my discussion is the culture of a certain company. So I think that's for my end, and hopefully, if there are some questions, I know that my my speech was a little fast, but hopefully it can give a little enlightenment to those who are listening right now, and at the same time, I will help the students who are joining this webinar because my my session is more likely based on my experience and of course in a theory based, but of course in a reality case basis. So that's for me for now, and for those who wanted to ask questions, I would really love to cater such questions and answer you based on what can I share.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paduginog, Sir Albert, for
Yes,
speaking in behalf of Honorable Paulo L. Tirador from the Minas.
Rador. Mm.
the Miles Hills, with the topic, of course, the Mires Hills Tierra Verde Leisure Farm Organizational Development and Best Management Practices. And I know
Mhm.
that most of our participants has questions in their mind. So as you've said earlier that you're ready to ask or you're ready to answer your questions, let's now move along with our open forum. And to lead that, may I request Doki Johanna Grace Giavillana, MBA, our Invitation Budget and Finance Chairperson, to do it.
Mhm.
Thank you very much, Sir Jack. Thank you, Sir Albert, for sharing to us the best practices and everything that you have at the Mirrors Hills. We are very excited that soon we were able to visit there.
Sure,
So
sige.
at least, yes, sir. Well, at this moment, dear participants, our floor is now open for questions, for your enlightenment, for your curiosity. Please do not be shy to raise your questions. You may type it on our chat box, or you may personally raise your hand. Okay, our first question, Sir Albert, will be coming from Miss Roslyn Abuan. Miss Roslyn?
Yes, Miss Joanna. Hello, Sir Albert.
Hello, good afternoon.
So my question is, I was the last slide you presented was very interesting to me. So my question will be directed to that slide. So my question is, how can you make your employees feel and experience that they are an asset to the organization instead of a liability?
Sorry, wait. Well, anyhow, regarding with that, with making the staff feel that they are an asset instead of a liability, we have a process with the HR actually. We do the giving them of the usual incentives, especially if they're working well. They were given we do practice the employee of the month, giving them incentives, giving them the experience to experience for themselves, having a night stay or even a free massage, or for them to experience for themselves as well the services of our resort, because through this it's not just a one way benefit after all, because if you give incentives to the people, like like of having a free experience with the Mirrors Hills, they can also learn through that experience the product knowledge learning, because I think it's not just giving them candies, but also giving them the experience for themselves. Right after the experience, they can also earn such a knowledge for them to be able to provide information to the other guests as well.
Miss Roslyn, I think you are on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Sir Albert, for answering my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Back to you, Miss Joanna.
Thank you, Miss Roslyn, for that question. And thank you, Sir Albert. We have more questions, Sir Albert. Next question will be coming from Doki Mainen.
Thank you, Doki Joanna. Good afternoon, Sir Albert.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
My question to you is, what measures did you use in your operation to adapt the changes brought by this pandemic?
All right. So actually, that is a good question, because when I started with the Mirror Seals, it was really the entry of the lockdowns. So me myself is actually shocked by the experience, because it's my first time to handle such a position. Well, going to that question, the measures that we have, of course, is to adapt with the protocols from the government. And of course, we educate not only our guests, but also our staff for their protection because as related to my previous answer to the question, we also protect our staff as an asset, so we also have to protect them as well. So basically, of course, the health basic health protocols is provided to everyone, not only to the staff but also to the guests. And also, the hardest part is to adjust with the new system or the new process, because one of the most challenging part is to adjust with the demand of the industry or the market, because there's a lot of lockdowns, there's a lot of health protocol measures that we have to adjust our operations. So even to that extent, we have uh, we have laid off some of our staff because the demand and the supply is really not so balanced. So with those challenges, we actually had a good experience, especially to my part as a newcomer in the position. So there's a lot of changes in the operations and adjustments that I think one of the best things that you can do to for you to be able to overcome this is to make friends with people in the industry, because you exchange thoughts, you contact them not only for the things that you need, but also you exchange ideas on how to improve the system, because I think the pandemic also brought the people in the industry to be bonded, because we exchanges thoughts and ideas for us to be able to survive this pandemic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Albert, for that
No
very
problem.
enlightening answer. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sir Albert. By the way, we have more questions, Sir Albert. I hope will that be okay.
Yes, that's
Um, to
fine.
our, to our dear participants, I am encouraging everyone to please do not be shy. If you have questions, please write down on the chat box together with the school you are affiliated, your name and your name. And next question, Sir Albert, will be coming from Sir Michael Villarmino. Sir Michael?
Hi, thank you, Dr. Johanna. So, good afternoon, Sir Albert.
Hello, Sir Michael.
So, sir, my question is, so do you believe that the pandemic can change businesses for the better?
Well, I just wanted to be honest enough on standing on the business side, because as I've been working with a certain company which has a rough start, where the challenge is actually having this manpower coming from the locals, wherein not everybody has the experience of of being exposed to the industry, the basics, the global standards, and so on. So I don't want it to be a hard hard-hearted person, but this gives a little of a breathing part for the resort, because there are some of the adjustments in the, like I've said, there's a lot of adjustments, including the laid off of the people. I'm not saying that it is I totally agree with laying off with people, but this gives us the opportunity to renew the new sets of people coming in, because as we know, out of a palm full of rice, may ara gina siya nga pasik. So, well, again, I don't want it to be sound hard-hearted, but then it gives us a chance to clean our closet, to clean our organization. So it opens a lot of opportunities to newcomers that is skilled, and of course at the same time they are well trained and exposed. So actually, yeah, it gives us the time to breathe and to change things in the organization. But don't get me wrong with that one. Sorry.
That's okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Sir Michael, for that question. Well, next question, Sir Albert, will be coming from Miss Cybele Ann Ramirez.
Hello, Sir Albert. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
So I would just like to ask her, since knowing that the Miras Leisure Farm is one of the best um, farm leisure farms no in near Iloilo City. I would just like to ask her if you can state other best management practices other than what you shared just a while ago, that which you think makes the Miras Leisure Farm different from any farm tour destinations.
Well, basically, as I've said, or even Paolo have told us before, the Mires doesn't wanted to pretend to be one of the luxurious and the high-end experience. Actually, we have lots of downsides as well. But what makes the Mirrors Hills different, because it's not about the service alone, but actually it's the geographical location itself. And for the services, what makes us different is because uh, I've said already the downside because of the local staff. But what makes it on the positive side is because the locals gives the authentic kind of service, the authentic Filipino farm side experience of kind of service, which is not very smooth, and it's not very technical. It's more likely of how you enjoy farm, how you enjoy the culture of people, or the way people handling guests in the farm. So that makes the Mirror Sales very different in the other well-known places, because it has a very authentic and distinctive, not so polished, not so perfect, but it's very distinctive.
Thank you so much, Sir Albert. I would just
All
like to
right.
say I'm really grateful that you had this presentation, because I also have some students here who are studying in the tourism management program, and I think this is one activity, this is one event that can make them appreciate the beauty of farm tourism and agri tourism.
Yes. Actually, just to add up, because as I've said, um, the topic that I have discussed, it's not just focusing on the theory side, because in reality, even me, I've learned a lot from school. Of course, this is the ground and the basis of what we are doing right now. But the experience of working in the industry, it's not totally the same as what we have read on the books, because I think it's really different, and it's really a must for your students to be exposed to, for them to see it for themselves, for them to experience it by themselves, not only learning it by books, but also by experiencing it as their own, especially experiencing it as a guest. So I really wanted to invite you to our place, and we can do collaboration regarding with that. And the Mirror Seals will open its doors for your students.
I agree, sir. No, thank you so much. I really agree. Experience and theory should come hand in hand, and
True.
hopefully, if we will have our Negros or Western Visayas tour with my students, we can come and visit the Mires Leisure
Yes.
Farm. Thank you so much, Sir
No
Albert.
problem. Yes. Sige.
Thank you, Miss Cybele, for that question, and thank you, Sir Albert, for that very substantial answer. By the way, Sir Albert, we have also question coming from our chat box from one of the students of Altavas College under the BSHM department. Came from Rodel I. Gervasio. His question is, talking about change, as operations manager of the Miris, how did you manage changes on your operations, and how did you sustain your business through the disruption of the pandemic?
Disruption. Yeah. So basically, it's really a boggling situation, because as I've said a while ago on my answer on a previous question, it was really new, not only to me but for everybody. No one ever think of a certain pandemic scenario that will happen, especially on the peak, that happen on a peak season actually. So for me as an operations manager, I always go to the going into details. Actually, I have used my a sort of paranoia, being paranoid, to be one of my leverage, or a basis for me to think of the possibilities ahead. Of course, you have to not only to maintain the property and the structure, but you also have to maintain the financial side. So I have made certain big decisions during those months, and I as one of the very specific scenario that I have done is I haven't opened the Miris Hills as one of the facility, this quarantine facility, because there's a lot of miscommunication, poor communication between us and the government. So with that, in order for me to be able to maintain and sustain the business of the Miri Seals, I actually decided not to open it as a quarantine facility, and it gives us the opportunity actually to open, and actually the Miri Seals is one of the first areas or business establishment that open for the guests. So it gives us the balance to maintain not only the financial side or the income side, but also for us to be able not to make our place doomed by the pandemic. So it's really making more of decisions that even not even basing it on another reality, because pandemic will happen for 100 years before. So it's really making decision. Risking is very essential. Risking without assurance is very important. So that you also need to have a very tough and very firm decision, because you don't know if it works or not. So risking is very essential in making decisions.
Thank you very much, Sir Albert. You know what? I agree with you, sir. You are not improving if you are not taking some risk.
Yes.
And of course, nobody also expect for this pandemic, and everyone is truly affected of this. And by the way, we still have question coming from Ducky Rumel Abaldonado. Ducky?
Hi, Doc. Hi, Sir Albert. Good afternoon. Okay, sir, here's my question. What is your opinion for your unexpected or potential asset employee who shift to another organization? And how could you handle that organizational development that will not be affected?
Okay, so if I got it right, it's like a staff transferring to other organization, right, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyhow, in any business, me personally, because I know how it feels to start as an associate. I've been through a lot of associate levels in my entire life. So I always wanted to develop people. Even now, when I'm still working with the Mirrors Hills, actually, I always encourage my students. I not the students. I encourage my staff not to just see themselves staying on the same position, staying on a same level over the years, because I always even encourage them to step up, to level up, if not leveling up on the same organization. You might able to see that on the other properties. And I'm not encouraging people to stay, but I am encouraging people to love us the way we treated them, but also we also nourish them to develop themselves, not only for the growth of the business, but also for their financial and professional growth. So if in case that people goes out of our company or transfer to other organizations, I'm not having any I'm not against about it, as long that it is for their good, and it's not a problem at all. So for me to be able to handle such a scenario, of course, me as the operations manager will deal with it by hiring a new set of people to replace those vacated position. And of course, it's my duly responsibility to train them again and to develop them and to nourish them to be a good professional workers. And at the same time, maybe we can also go to transfer to the other properties in the future, or encourage them to be promoted in another level.
Thank you so much, Sir Albert.
No problem, sir.
Thank you, Sir Albert. Well, no, that is a true leader. because actually there always takes growth for his or her employee. Thank you very much, Sir Albert. For another question coming from Mr. Nolly B. Diaz. Sir Nolly? Sir Nolly, are you in? Oh, I think Sir Nolly is not yet around. Sir Albert, personally, I have question.
Mhm.
Being a operations manager, what is your point of view on that word or term customer is always right?
Well, actually, in this, I really love that question. I always give such a sample to my staff because this is very subjective, different perceptions of each leaders in a certain level. Yet, for me personally, my opinion regarding that is, yeah, customers is always right because of their entitlement. But me myself personally, because as I said, I always teach my fellow not only theoretically but based on the experience. The only thing is in this situation, especially if it's a complaint, you always have to make sure that the guest will not feel offended. You can always agree with them in a certain level, but of course, at the end of the day, you always have to educate them that not all the things they do is right, but in a manner that it's not doesn't sounds like that you're telling them that they're wrong. The only point here is they always wanted to feel that they're right, but you also have to make sure that you have to make them you have to educate them in a way that it's not harassing or even feeling offended in their side. So they are right, but you always have the chance to correct them in a way because it's very subjective. It depends on the degree. So basically, it's the name itself. Um, the customer is right, but definitely not. But yes, they are right. I mean, confusing, but that's how complicated it is.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sir Albert. Um, I think we have another question. Sir Nolly, are you around or will it be okay for you? That I will be the one to read your question. Sir Albert, his question is, what are the major problems facing of the leisure farming and how will you manage it?
Okay, for the leisure farm, because basically the Ramirez Hills is composed of two different management, yet the farm of the Ramirez Hills is located in the same property of the Ramirez Hills. Yet the management of the farm is separate. But yet I can give some of the ideas regarding it. So one of the challenges in the leisure farm farming is of course basically the weather and of course the demands because again like for example during the pandemic one of the best scenario is we have less of the demands due because of the of the difficulties in the transportation due because of the demands in the market. So it slows down the operation that affects not only the crops but also the people who's working in the farm. So basically, it's a matter of not facing the problem on the spot, but you have to anticipate. You don't need to wait for the problem to occur. You have to prepare for something so that when the problem occurs you are ready enough. It's like they say mag-imbak like the ants they store food or they store things so that when challenges came in they are really prepared. So it regardless if it's a farm or whatever business it is, as long that you are well prepared, and anticipation is really a must. So you don't just wait for the bomb to explode and make solutions, but you have to be prepared no matter what the problems may can come in.
Thank you very much, Sir Albert. Yes, right. I agree with you. Being prepared is always very important in every company because we don't know what might happen or what might tomorrow be. So we
True.
still have question coming from Sir Anthony. Why is Panola, Sir Anthony?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Sir
Hi,
Anthony,
sir.
can you please turn on your camera so that Sir Albert will going to recognize you? Okay, there we go.
All right, sir. I am also working with some restaurants here in Bacolod City,
Mhm.
so I can really relate to your experiences.
Galaxy, sir.
Sorry. Okay, sige. Can you hear me clear now?
Yes, yes, sir. Much better.
All right. Um,
Oh, I think there is a connectivity problem on Sir Anthony's line because there is a wide interruption at
keep
Bacolod
your
City. Sir Anthony, you
yes.
are choppy.
All right. Sige. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Sige. As an operations manager, what process or factors do you consider no to keep no your employees no in terms of tenureship? Because in our restaurants no we experience a lot of, I mean, nowadays the I mean there are a lot of transitions no of resignation from one employees to another. Based on our analyzation, it is about there are employees who apply work before during pandemic for the sake of to earn. Then pag may makita na sila na other ng organization or company, they tend to resign right away, as in immediate resignation, then transfer to other companies. So that is our challenge also. So on your farm or in your company, so how do you keep them? What did you do, or what are the procedures that you are doing to keep them also and
All
not
right.
to transfer from one company to another? Thank you.
All right. Basically, I have to answer it personally. Personally, not representing the company because I haven't yet experienced with people who just worked there for the pandemic time, but but most of my staff are still staying. Yet, in regards to your question, I think one of the best answer for that is because it's not only about the money, as I suppose. It's not only about the money if the person is really passionate about the work, but we also have to admit the fact that there are some. It's like in the BPO industry, they are coming in. They are coming in to work just to have a job while waiting for another opportunity. But for me, for able for us to keep them if in case, because this is definitely uncontrollable. Like I said before on the question, you don't force people to stay, but you let them feel that they are important. They wanted to stay. It's not forcing them to stay, but we have or I mean personally, I have to make the Mirrors Hills as a very conducive place, not only for the environment, also not only for the compensation, but also how they will make feel that they don't want it to get away anymore, because again it will go back to the culture, because again there are some that they wanted to work because of the money. That is the primary concern. But of course, we have to consider the culture. This is, like I've said, of all the lists of my discussion, the most important thing is the culture, because like I just dropped a company's name. It's like the what's the name of the resort in Boracay? Shangri-La. So Shangri-La Boracay does have lots of the newer people, the newer ship of 10 years, because they were loved, they were cared by the company. So this is how you make people stay. It's not all about the money, but it's how you protect them and care for them, because again, um a certain company, it's like a second home. 50% of your life is depending, or you spend your 50% of your life in working, so it's like a second home to you. So as long that there is, of course, the money, and as long that there is a love and care for them, this is actually one of the things that we can make them stay. But again, at the end of the day, there are people coming in that the intention is just to have a stopover, and you cannot control about it. But again, the answer is, if you really wanted your people to stay, you give them love, you give them care, you compensate them properly, and I think this will give them the idea not to get out of the company at all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Tom, for the question. We have another question coming from Sir Jet Disukatan. Sir Jet, do you have question?
Hello, Sir Albert, once
Hi,
again.
hi, sir.
Hello. I just like to ask if, because you've probably discussed most or majority of your strengths in your company. So can you name one weakness, and can you discuss on how you are planning to fix or to address it?
Actually, what I'm having right now as a the weakness of the resort as of the moment is the communication, and this is actually a very essential in whatever whatever situation. It's not only in the working space, it also applies to a relationship or whatever scenario it is. It really it's really a must, because now the problem within my company is they don't have most of my staff are now getting lazy about having a proper communication. They just drop the information without the feedbacking. They just give instructions without follow-ups and so on. So in order for me to resolve the problem is actually, um, I would just have to go back again to what I have discussed a while ago. Most of my staff is coming from the locals of the community, wherein again they are not well equipped of the experience, they are not well equipped of the knowledge, they are not well equipped of, or well not exposed of a certain industry. So the problem there is, sometimes no matter how good your plans are, but if these people doesn't really talk your language, it's like speaking Japanese to non-Japanese speaker. So again, you have to educate them of the purpose and the advantage of proper communication, because as we know, most of the Filipino workers or staff, sometimes if you inject a certain new system, they just think, or they just thought that it's just an additional task. It's mailonggo ko, it's like mambal sila sa akon nga wala ka pa di sa resort niya, gagana na among sistema. So this kind of mindset is actually a very challenging on my part. So I'm telling them, and I am going to the even to the micromanaging level, for them to be able to understand. Because no matter how beautiful your plans is, if your people doesn't speak your language, it will become useless. So educating them, letting them understand is the best way for them for you to surpass and to overcome such a problem. So with the situation of having a communication problem, I let them understand why communication is very important. So micromanaging at times it's tiring, but you have no choice. You have to do it. It's my job.
Thank you.
No
Thank you,
problem,
Sir
sir.
Jack, for that question. And we have another question, Sir Albert, coming from the participant from Altavas College of BSHM Department. Her name is Jalame Kawali. Her
Mhm.
questions runs this way. We all know that most of the business and companies are on digital platform right now in terms of advertisement and marketing strategies. How does social media affect your business?
Okay, actually, there is a good and I will not answer only one of the specific part of the question, but I will give an additional to the question actually. Well, the social media is gave us the opportunity to have an easier access to reach our guests. And as we know, most of our guests, most likely 95% of our guests are already using gadgets and have the connections on the Wi-Fi and so onto the platforms on the social media. So it really helps a lot. Even our reservations is not only dealing with the phones, we also do transactions over the Facebook Messenger or even on the Instagram accounts. So it really helps a lot for us to able to market because we can do the paid advertisement. The other guests might able to do the hashtagging or also mentioning our resort, and these are the ways that the social media help us a lot in terms of marketing, and it lessens our cost of marketing expense. But the negative side, not only talking about the marketing side of the business, the negative side of the social media is we let or there are some opportunities for the silent type of complainers that you cannot resolve a certain problem because they go instantly um, go comments on the Facebook and you cannot even resolve such a problem instantly. So what they do, the negative part of that is they don't complain. You cannot resolve because they don't come up to you for resolution. So the tendencies are the social media is also a destructive one because it gives the opportunity for the other guests to badmouth you. I mean, criticism is fine, but it's unfair at times for us working in the industry to defend ourselves on the social media because no matter how right you are, you cannot rebut to the guests or to the client because it will be really a bad feedback to you in the future if you rebut with the guests, and it's really unfair to our part. So it's not about the marketing alone, the good thing of the marketing, but there's a bad side of the market of the social media as well.
Yes, Sir Albert, I agree with you. Because social media is a very huge part for the advertisement, at the same time a very huge part for to destroy your name as well, because sometimes people were not able to think before they click or posting it on social media. So
Correct.
thank you very much, Sir Albert. We still have questions coming from Doki Mireche.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you,
Good afternoon.
Juan. Since you are new, more than 2 years in this business, actually, pero I will try again. How would you approach managing someone who's a subject matter expert when you're more of a generalist?
Excuse me, madam. I couldn't get the entire statement.
Okay. How would you approach managing someone who is a subject matter expert when you're more of a generalist?
Yes. So as what you have said and emphasized during on your question, because I've been working with the mirror sales for just 2 years. Well, I know there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I still have to learn on the process. Where wherein if I will talk to someone who's already expert on the field, the first thing, of course, that I have to defend is I am the one who's working. If they're talking about of my operations within my own property, you always have to answer with a conviction, and because your place is your kingdom. I mean, it's your rules. So you have, and you know much better on how these operations will run because it's under within your palm. Yet, if in case I don't refuse any of the comments and suggestions or opinions of those who are actually in already working in the industry for so long, because the first thing is you cannot ever be the best of your craft. There will always be some people that is much better than you. You always have to see to it that the best way to improve is to open your mind and heart to absorb new things and to new for new learnings. These people who's working in the industry for so long can actually give you such an opportunity to learn things even without experiencing it by your own. So it's if ever that I will be talking to someone who's already been working in the industry and being professional for some years already, I would suggest, I would tell if I know that I am right, and I will just open my ears and my heart to open for new ideas and new information, so I could learn from them as well. Because I think there are some things that they knew that I don't know, but I have some also things that I knew that they don't know as well. So it's an exchange of thoughts and ideas for us to be able to grow. Because I think in this industry or in this business, you cannot just stand alone. You have to blend. You have to mix with other people for you to be able to grow.
That's right, sir. Thank you for very informative answer.
No problem, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Daki Mariche, for that question. I do agree because two heads are better than one. Sharing of thoughts and ideas really produces excellent resort. I mean result. Well, at this moment, Sister Marley Satur will have also a question.
Hi, good afternoon, Doc. I'm Sister Marley.
Hi, Doc.
Actually, my questions are just a follow-up questions from questions who were already asked. Now, previously, you mentioned about, by the way, you mentioned about best practices in the Miris Resort. My question is about how you mentioned about giving incentives to employees so that they will do better, no, instead of becoming a liability. What if, despite of the incentives and the appreciation that or reward that you have given to them, they still, there are temptations around, they still become a liability to the company? And my other
Yes,
question is,
it's okay.
my other question, sir, is you mentioned also about marketing strategies, no? And what do you think is your best, marketing strategies to attract clients or customers? Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
yeah, that is actually a good question. Well, for the first question, of course, there are still there are still people who were given the opportunity or the incentives for them to be able to improve their performances, but still having a temptation, as you have said. Yet we also have to think that the level of understanding between people who's working at the top and working people who's working on the associate level is not having the same kind of understanding. So again, it will always go back to a point that if they will continue it, let people commit mistakes, because with that mistakes they will learn from it. But of course, you will not just let people commit mistakes without them understanding. As the manager of the resort, as long that is coordinated with the people still continuing such, if, despite of the given an opportunity or incentives at all, because there's a process of performance evaluation. there is a process of calling their attentions at all. So if they are continuing this, they are committing having the temptations within themselves. Well, I think again, as I said, educating them, even going through the micromanaging level, is something that you have to do as a manager, because I think it's better to kick out people that you have done everything, rather than just judging people on an instant without them learn something from your end. Because this is what I've learned during my dancing years. You cannot just scold anyone of a specific thing if you yourself doesn't even told them how to do that, on how they understand things, because it won't work. You have to educate your people for them to be able to understand why. And going to the second question, my answer for the best marketing is, of course, the easiest way is the social media. That is given thing. But the best quality of a marketing that is very effective is the word of mouth. The experience of the people coming into your property, and when they have the experience it, and if they have a good experience within your service, they will pass it on. The word of mouth is the highest form of the marketing, which is, I do believe, it's my personal opinion, because this is already based on the experience. I might have good pictures, but I have really bad services at all, because Facebooks or other platforms of marketing might be deceiving, but the experience of the guest itself is authentic, it's genuine, and it's the best way to communicate, and it's a free marketing.
Thank you so much, Doc. I mean, Sir Albert.
No problem, sister.
Okay. Thank you, sister, for that question. Sir Albert, I have also another question. Um, Sir, people perceive that the nearest is expensive and its market is for the elite. Do you have any comment on this, or yes?
Yeah, actually, I'm very ready to answer that question, because, well, there is a different level of marketing. There is a different level of markets. Um, the mirrors is expensive. Yes, I couldn't deny. It might be not so expensive to others, but it might be expensive to most. Yet, just to answer on that question, the mirrors is setting a certain standard, because if we do let our services so-called cheap on its price, everybody could have the access. Everybody can make use of everything, because, like, for example, the entrance fee of the Mirrors Hills is 100 pesos. The 100 pesos goes to the maintenance of the entire property. The property is 42 hectares, and we have a 14 hectares developed. So the money goes to the maintenance. So if you keep on going down of the prices, people may overuse the property, and it will ruin the entire concept of the Mirrors Hills. Well, in terms of the food, well, I could boastly say it might be subjective, but most of the comments on our food, it's excellent. But in terms of services, it might be Marriott room is the same price of the Mirrors, but Marriott doesn't have a good scenery like we have. That's why the Mirrors might be expensive, but it's worth visiting.
Thank you very much, Sir Albert. Well, I think you are guests were able to experience excellent service, which is really pays for the satisfaction. Price speaks to itself because of the service, as at the same time the facilities and amenities that being provided of the Demirs. Thank you very much. Well, sir, we have more questions. Are you still up onto this?
Hasta magabi ito, wala gyud problema.
Thank you, Sir Albert. You know what? They find interesting of the mirrors. That is why they have lots of questions. Well, we have another question coming from Sir Nolly D. Diaz. Sir Nolly, are you there now?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello,
Good
sir. Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir Albert. Here's my question, sir. Nowadays, now, as we all know that leisure farming is a trend, right? What is the role of technology in leisure farming, and how will you meet the rising demands for more food, higher quality?
Sir, can you please repeat that? Nag-uto-daton lang.
What is the role of technology in leisure farming, and how will you meet the rising demand for more food of higher quality?
All right. So with that one, because again, as I've said, the Miras Hills is composed of the resort and the farm side of the business, wherein I am not directly having the influence of managing the farm itself. Yet for the farm, literally the farm of the Miras Hills has its own management, and at the same time, they were improving on terms of the facilities that we have. Because actually, as of the moment, it's not only by the experiencing of the touring on the farm, but also we also now the Miras Hills has its own training facility for learning, because actually it became a training center under TESDA. And also with the facilities, they are still on the process of improving it, because actually most of their projects way back prior to pandemic was postponed. So as of the moment, the machineries now is being improved, and also the areas to provide for their products, like the crops and the seedlings, are already developed. So for the for the leisure part of the farm, we are actually now having the programs for the daytime and the overnight guests that we have. We have the farm tour that is actually for free, and we let our guests to experience not only swimming in our resort, but also the way the farming, the way the fruit picking, and also understanding the side of the farm in not just putting the crop on the ground, but also by learning some of the informations regarding farming. So it's not just a leisure, but also a learning thing. So that is actually why now we are on the stage to improving again, because based on the demand now on the leisure farm visits, it's still on the stage of climbing up, because now the farm or the resort as of the moment is having a lots of demands in the activities and the events or functions. And for the farming side, we are improving it as of this moment. We are still on the stage of improving it again because of the postponed plans prior to pandemic.
Thank you, sir.
No problem,
Sir,
sir.
I have one more question. One last thing po. As you mentioned, sir, the leisure farming in your company is it connected in TESDA?
As of this,
No.
yes, may ara kita, sir. May ara nakita nga training center under kay TESDA. Kay ang farm namon is being
Okay.
utilized by students man.
Yes, because I believe almost like 60% of the budget of the TESDA is going to the agricultural industry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Sir Nolly, for that question. Sir Albert, two more questions. And this
Yes, sir.
question will be coming from Sir Jet Viclar, one of the students of Doctor of Management. Sir Jet?
Yes, ma'am. Sir Albert, good afternoon.
Hello, sir. Mayong hapon.
Sir, my question is, and I hope this will benefit our student participants. My question is, what qualities must our students or our newly graduates must possess to be in a position where you are right now as a financial person or budget officer?
Okay, so just to clarify, I'm the operations manager of the Miri Seals, not the budget officer. So,
Sorry, sorry.
all right. So actually, sir,
Yes, operations.
all right. So regarding with that, as far as I understood the question is like, what is the characteristic or what
Oh,
must
yes,
the
yes.
student must possess for them to be able to reach my position? Well,
Yes,
actually, sir,
yes.
just to have a glimpse of my experience, I officially graduated my college at the age of 28. Because I was like dungol man ako sang bataon pa ko. But then it's not about the age, it's not about the learnings alone that could help you to reach this position. It's about the dedication. Actually, this is very generic answer, but this is really the point of reaching a certain opportunity. Just to mind you, sir, it ma I was promoted as the operations manager of the Miris Hills, having a position of the supervisor of the front office. I remember my former partner told me that once there's an opportunity that knocks your door, don't be afraid, even though you don't know. You just have to grab and take the risk, as I said. You have to grab even you don't know because the learning process is on a daily basis. I didn't even had a certain long experience as an associate on this industry, but I have the courage to face the challenge because it will. I promoted myself not only to promote by name or by position, but it promoted me financially. So it's a matter of taking the risk. You don't know what happens next, but you can always have the mouth to ask and to have the assistance from other people because sometimes being a leader or let's say a boss, it's not a good thing at all because at the end of the day, everything is collaborative. An organization is a collaboration of everybody's mind. Not all the things that you know is the best. So always open your heart, open your mind to possibilities, takes the risk. You have the dedication at the same time as of this moment, especially in the hospitality industry there's a lot of stagnant people who's working in the industry right now because of the over supply of the manpower. So it's a matter of how you compete. Like in a movie said, ang buhay ay parang kyato, kailangan mo makipag-agawan. So you really have to strive and you really have to fight for the position. It's not like the doctor. If the doctors graduated, they were really a highly on a high demand because they are few. But in this industry right now, having in hospitality management, actually it's an overflowing number of supply to the demand. So it's a matter of how you step up or how you exceed the expectations of others and how you stand out amongst the others. Because at the end of the day, how to be able to be a good quality leader is you have to go on the level of an associate for you to be able to understand. Once you're in the higher position, you know how it feels, you know how it runs, and you know how to do it. That's why the best thing there is you have to take the risk and learn things from below, and that's how you can become someone like me or become a leader of your own in the future. So it's like you have to fight for this. You have to make agawan to have the spotlight because not everybody has the tendencies or not everybody will be given a chance to be a manager or to be at the top if you are not capable of. This is no joke.
Sir Albert, thank you so much for that very
No
uh,
problem, sir.
enlightening answer, sir. Very appreciated.
No
Thank you,
problem, sir.
sir.
Thank you, Sir Zed, and thank you, Sir Albert. One last question will be coming from Sir Romel Baldonado. Sir Romel,
Hi, Sir Albert. Good afternoon once again.
Hello.
Albert, good afternoon once again.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, thank you very much for that wonderful explanation and formative insight and also your experience you shared to us. By the way, this is my question. So word of mouth is essential to the organizational development. But how do you manage the bad image brought by employees sometimes in the organization towards customers that will not be affected the image of the company?
Yeah, I'd really love to answer that one because this is what I've been experiencing as of the moment. So basically, there is a process, the technical process of handling that, which is on the HR side, which is you have to do the process of the performance evaluation, the incident report, which is very technical side. But again, one of the most you don't just have to do the technical side of the operations. You also have to know why are these people doing such? Why are these people are having such a quality of performance? Because at the end of the day, there are people, especially when I was still a student, influencing other students, my co-fellow students. They were known to be really bad people. They were naughty people. But at the end of the day, because at times people seems to like needing of a special of special attention, and they also have to be educated properly because it's all interconnected. You have to make them feel they are cared, and at the same time you have to let them know why they are doing this, why you are working with us, why you are in this company, what are your plans in the future. You really have to get back again of letting your people know of why or what is their purpose at the company, or what is the purpose of them working in the company. So if in case that they're doing they're giving the bad impression to the company. First, of course, the technical side, you can use that one. But of course, if you still have the heart for the people, you still have to give a certain time to talk to them. And if it doesn't work at all, you go back again to the technical side. And sometimes, as I've read this morning before I proceeded with this session, I've read a certain statement that you don't have just to take people in a technical side, but you also have to let them feel the heart of their company, or else at the end of the day, you don't have just to be a leader, but you have to all somehow you have to apply the approach of fear. You have to do the tough decision because sometimes you just have to throw the heart away because at the end of the day, this is not a charity. This is a work. This is a business. You have to protect the interests of the owners. You have to protect the interests of everybody because bad comments or impressions from other people will affect the entire business and income of the property. So nagpalayo na ako. Pero at the end of the day, the technical side, the heart side, and you go back to the technical side if it doesn't work at all. Because at the end of the day, we are all dispensable. People can be changed as long that they are worth staying. Then you keep them. If they don't. If they are not worth of the position or the slot, then sometimes you have just to use the hard part, which is to kick them out. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we have the heart, but sometimes we have to be tough.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Dr. Romel, for that question. By the way, Sir Albert, we have pahabol question coming from one of the students of Altavas College, a BSHM fourth year student. His name is Bernard Barrera. His question is, as operations manager in terms of making decision and strategy, with your experience, when do you think it is time to say that you can say that it is right decision and strategy?
Well, basically, when I was a neophyte on the position, I tend to have very sloppy decisions. So I tend to ask my fellow tenured in the industry. So as time passes by, the experience gives me gives me the idea on how to make decisions, because actually in this industry there is no 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. Every decisions that you make is very subjective. But again, in this position that I'm having right now, you have to make decisions right away, but you have to make sure that you have to be firm. You have to be firm and tough of the decision. You shouldn't have to wiggle or to be you have to be tough and to be firm enough to make decisions, so that people will really believe that your decision is right. Because sometimes, like, as on the question, when is the right time? There is no right time. The moment that you open your mouth, that is the right time that you make the right decision. So you have to be very firm with what you have in mind. But of course, in, enable for you to have such kind of a talent to make decisions is through experience. Because at the end of the day, the experience will teach you how to decide. It's not like, again, it's 1 plus 1 is 2. It's something that you have to think, or your the way you handle problems is based really on damo ka pa sang buyayaw nga maagyan para ma-perfect mo ang insakto mo sa ba.
Thank you very much, Sir Albert. Thank you for answering those questions. A very fruitful, a very beneficial talk to everyone. We are very excited that soon we can visit the Mayor's farm. We saw,
Yes.
based on your presentation, it's really good, and we are very excited to meet you in person. Thank you very much for sparing your time with us. Well, at this moment, may I return the floor to Sir Jet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Jo. Once again, thank you, Sir Albert. That was an intense open forum. You've answered a lot of questions. Hope you have enough air there. Anyway, at this point, we'll be having, or we'll be awarding the E-Certificate of Appreciation, and that is to be spearheaded by our Publicity and Promotion Chairperson, Mr. J. Martin B. Biclar, MBA.
Once again, everyone, good afternoon.
Naka-mute si Sir.
Okay, so let me read to you the contents of the certificate. Guimaras State University Graduate School, Doctor of Management, major in Business Administration, awards this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Albert Ginog for the gift of time and expertise as resource speaker during the DMBA 400 webinar on development of organization and management theories and practice with the theme The Miris Hills Tierra Verde Leisure Farm Organizational Development and Best Management Practices, held on August 20, 2022 via Zoom, given the day of August 2022. Signed, Michael B. Bilarmino, MBA-HM, Webinar Chairperson. Signed, Roslyn G. Abuan, MBA, Webinar Co-Chairperson. Signed, Ginny Montes, EDD, PhD, BM, DMBA 400 Professor. Signed, Annalyn A. Hanaban, MBA, HRM, DMBA Program Head. And signed, Erlen M. Martir, PhD, Dean of Graduate School.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir J. Martin. And I'd like to request Sir Albert Paduginog to please join us for a photo op to be headed by Mr. Nolly B. Diaz Jr.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Albert, for sharing your expertise and knowledge with regards with your topic for today. And also, I would like to inform all participants our e-evaluation is already posted in our GC, so please kindly answer and fill out everything there so that you will be receiving our third certificate for today's webinar. And also, I would like to ask everybody to please kindly turn on your cameras for the photo opportunity. Please kindly turn on your cameras, everybody. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile, everybody. One more time. Next one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Next. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, again, please kindly fill out, all participants, please kindly fill out our e-evaluation so that you will be receiving our third certificate for today's webinar. And all participants, please kindly turn off your cameras because the team or organizing team together with the speaker and our advisor, we will be having our own photo op. Thank you. Okay, committee, please kindly turn on your camera. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you so much. Back to you, Sir
Thank
Jet.
you so much, Sir Albert. God bless you.
Thank you, Sir
Thank you.
Albert.
Thank you, Sir
So much.
Albert. Thank you,
Thank you
Sir
for
Albert.
Thank you, Sir
thank you for giving
Albert.
us the
Thank you, Sir
opportunity.
Albert.
I'll be visiting Guimaras State. You maybe by next week, actually.
Thank you, sir.
Again, thank you,
Alright.
sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again. So as promised, dear participants, that we will be having 4 speakers today. And to complete the set, may I request our e-certificate and e-registration chairperson, Sister Marley A. Satur, AR, LPT, MM, to please introduce our 4th speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Today, we are pleased to welcome a very special guest all the way from Boracay. He is currently taking up Master in Business Administration in Tourism and Hospitality Management at the Central Philippine University, Iloilo City. He is the chairman of the Boracay Foundation Incorporated, which was established in 1996 as a nonprofit, non-stock association aimed at sustaining the island's environmental, business, and tourism industry. As an Assistant Vice President of Boracay Resort Operations for Heman Group of Resorts, he is known for being a passionate team player with more than 18 years of extensive experience and knowledge on resorts operations. He played a great part in building the fastest growing Filipino-owned resort chain in the Philippines, handling more than 1,600 rooms and more than 2,000 employees in the world-class tourist destinations, which is Boracay Island. In the next 60 minutes, we will learn the organizational development and best practices of Heman Group of Resorts. Let us get some inside secrets from somebody who's been there and has done it. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you give your full attention to Mr. Dindo Miguel Martin F. Salazar and help me in welcoming him with our virtual applause. Sir Salazar.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to this very informative and very timely webinar with regards to organizational development. Could I request the host to please share?
Meanwhile, while Sir Dindo is preparing his presentation, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Early M. Martir, or Dean of the Graduate School.
Good afternoon once again. So I think it is but prior also to introduce Hanan Group of Resorts to you with our audio video presentation. Please stay tuned. This is just a 3-minute video of all the resorts that we have here in Boracay. There are about 7 already with 1,600 rooms. Good day. All right, if you could have noticed, our focus is on three things, and that would be guest experience and guest satisfaction. Second would be our facilities, the resorts itself. We try to maintain it to the cleanest possible way. And of course, if you stay with us, you're going to be billeted with us. We do guarantee that you have a very enjoyable stay. And In terms of rooms, it should have been even a year old so that you will have a best value for your money. And also, last but most certainly not the least, would be our employees who are really the star of this whole experience, not just because they would want to have something to feed their family in terms of their salaries, but also their satisfaction of the chosen field that they have um, gotten from or they'd like to pursue. And yeah, I fairly believe that employees really play an important role for business to thrive and for our business to come along from way back 1998 from just a mere 50 rooms, and now for about more than 2 decades it has grown exponentially. And I'm proud to say also that I have been on most of the years that we have been operating here in Boracay. We have a lot of challenges though, but I think for now we are still ongoing and recovering from the pandemic. And to address also the situation of the pandemic, more likely on, I mean, I'm getting already on the area of identifying the problem wherein during the first few months that we had a guests already coming to the island, we had some issues, most especially with the locals, because they would tend to local guests would tend to just call us and ask for a lot of questions, most definitely because there are new health and safety protocols. So we identified that problem because also we have employees that are still on skeletal workforce, and not all employees have been able to go back to the island because of the strict restrictions as well. So we have identified the problem, and in order to solve that, we made a video out of it so that we posted it on our social media accounts and as well as our website so that they'd be able to know and they would have at least a clear picture of what to do in terms of making the reservations and uh, um, enjoying the island itself. So here's just another short video of what we did to address this problem. All right, as you could have noticed again, we have detailed onto the procedures that we went through when you are trying to visit the island, all the way from the speedboats that we have. We do the sanitation and as well as the health and safety protocols in the resort with previously with the social distancing, the UVC lamps, the uh, um, acrylic shields or barriers, and then also we made use of the QR codes and so on. So this made us, or this has, based on the feedbacks also of our guests, at least they didn't had or need to contact us directly with regards to these procedures, but rather just take a look at the video again, and they'll be able to know how to go about in visiting Boracay Island. And Yeah. Now, um, I think the most important question for me for this afternoon would be, are leaders born or made? So I totally agree with what I've searched, and leaders are made, they are not born. They are made by hard effort, which is the price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. So, with me also, all the way going to the topmost position that I currently have, I also started with being a front office associate way back 2001. And I think I wasn't born a leader, but rather I strived hard, I worked hard for it. Um, I I would say I I studied my craft, and most especially with the situation before that, also the owner is not a hotelier, and we have been practicing on how to become a team, and I specifically tried to see each and every department at that time, whether the current standard is up to par, or it's working smoothly, or we're having some kind of trouble. Then even up to the very minimal situation that we had, wherein I'm gonna jump right through with the organization development strategy, which I think you all know already. We have 5 phases to designing and implementing. So I won't really rather go into detail about that, but just to give you some examples also. First and foremost, the entry level. So this is where we explore the problem. We identify the problem, and in these cases, I would be able to share to you that one of the most advanced, or I rather say technical, very technical kind of advancement that I tried to introduce within the resort way back 1998 was using the key cards. So it helped us most especially with, if you could compare it to the previous generations of going into a hotel or a resort, you would be given a manual key, and uh, there will be a lot of problem, which probably I had before, like when the guest checks out and then they forgot the key, or either they lost the key as well, and we would have the struggle of, because it's an island, we need to duplicate the key to a certain person, and we only had a few resources here, so that's one really big problem. And also sometimes the guest would bring the keys, the manual keys, um, going to the airport, so it's kind of really declared as lost, and we don't have anything on us, because of course the rooms should be sold on a day-to-day basis, and if we cannot have the key at our hands, well, it's already a lost business, wherein we cannot give out the reserved room, and it would um, escalate already to a lot of complaints. And so I identified the problem, and I suggested to the management we did some research, and this is where diagnosis comes in. And we did the research on it, and on how really to improve, if there are any other best solution for it, and that's why we gave the recommendation to the management to upgrade our lockset system into, and before it was still an IC chip. If you could see in your ATM cards, there would be IC, that's a small, like a SIM card also. So we started with that. Up until now, it's already called a proximity key card. So Proximity is more reliant, probably because it doesn't have any chip. It won't be affected by any magnets or anything like that. Even you you swim with it in the beach. It doesn't have any problem at all. And then by feedbacking, we ask the inputs of other front office associates and also other managers on how we could probably address the issue. And then comes the solution, but also would entail a lot of cost and consideration also from the management, because it's not really so cheap at that time to migrate from the regular doorknobs into an electronic doorknob. And right after that, we did some evaluation by means of asking the guests and also asking our employees if whether it truly did benefit the whole check-in check-out process, and giving the guests a really positive experience with us. And I think one major problem that we had also, if you could notice, is the habagat season, and this is where it comes in now. This is from June up until first week of December, wherein there are a lot of strong winds coming in from the southwest part of the island. And so if this strong winds comes in, we don't have any solution but to put up windbreakers. But before that, we had windbreakers, but it really took a long time to to put up. It probably would take up for us about 2 months, because we had the widest beachfront of about 120 meters. So we had the manual bamboo posts with very high net of about 4 meters high. But then again, I tried to make some solutions. I identified the problem, and then the diagnosis would be, or identifying the problem is, it took a lot of time for it to be built. And then you would also be distracting the view of the guests from their rooms all the way going to the beachfront. There's an obstruction of the very high net, and we could not take them down as easily as we would like to, because during the whole habagat season, there would always be some days or even a month that we won't have that strong winds. So we could not take down the nets easily. So that is another problem that we need to address also. And we need to protect the beachfront and the rooms as well. So aesthetically, we asked some suppliers. We told them about our problem of how we would be able to take down the nets, even during the habagat season, wherein there's not enough wind, not strong winds, so that the guests could also enjoy the whole Boracay scenery. So we opted to have like poles on all the beachfront, and then we asked them to devise a net wherein we could be able to pull it down or pull it up at our will. It won't require a lot of manpower to do it, or it wouldn't take a lot of time. So again, the feedback was very positive from the management, and we explored other suppliers who could be able to do it. We also tried to survey on how much percentage of wind is going to come in. That's going to be very pleasant also. We don't want to block off most of the winds, because it would also not be good, as the guests lying down on the beachfront would tend to be or it's kind of hot already, but without the wind, it's not very conducive for them to lay down on the beach. So we even took that aspect into consideration, where there should be enough wind also to go through that net while protecting the whole area. And Uh, Again, it entailed a big cost on the company, but it outweighed definitely the results, and we did gain a lot of praises from our guests. So, in the end, I think it's the our final thought on organizational development would probably be um, a crucial because it is crucial because it enables firms to go from one stage to another and become more productive. Change promotes innovation and profitability by introducing fresh concepts and methods of operation. So, yeah, I think that one is very beneficial not just for the company but also for leaders um, that is managing the company. And again, leaders are not born, they are made out of your sheer loyalty and dedication to the current in any position that you are currently with. There's no doubt that you will go up the ladder, same as I did. If you would be able to identify these problems, you would create solutions, and even to the mere fact that uh, I think the fondest one that I have is always uh, um, going into the complaints, guest complaints of all sorts of guest complaints, no, most especially with international guests that we have. Even though as young as I am, I have been able to resolve all complaints in a win-win situation. So I I don't know. I think that's the only thing probably that I'm born with, wherein I may say that I do not regard the guest complaints as problems, but I regard them as something that I would be able to gain experience from, and most especially I would gain friends from, because in this certain industry, you would have a lot of people time and people, meeting a lot of peoples, meeting a lot of cultures, and it's the very very exciting part about hotel industry if you're really cut out for it. And I really do hope that I have been able to give you very brief summary of our best practices here in Henan Regency Resort and Spa, or the whole Henan Group in itself. And there are really a few more where the owner would always tell us about the procedures and management um, approach in every problem that we have. And I do hope I could uh, enumerate it to you all in one sitting, but I think you're also very tired from the whole day of webinar already. But I'm really open to your questions. And previously, I have also watched the webinar conducted by the previous speaker. And yeah, I think the questions that you raised are very valid and very timely. And it's very, very, um, I mean, the level of questions that you have are top notch.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very informative talk to everyone. I think Sir Jet is not yet on the room, or maybe he has a connectivity problem. Sir, thank you very much for enlightening all of us for today's event. We are very happy and honored that you gave us the opportunity, the chance for sharing your knowledge to all of us. Most of the students or most of the participants here, sir, are students. I do hope that all of these learnings they will going to embody on themselves and will give them as a opportunity for them to grow. Okay, at this moment, the floor is now open for open forum students, participants, we are inviting all of you to ask questions. You may write your questions at the chat box to ask Sir Dindo. Okay, Sir Dindo, our first question will be coming from Mr. Nolly Diaz.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sir Nolly.
Ay, wait lang po. Ay, sorry. Sorry. Hi, good afternoon. Sorry po. Sige. So, thank you so much, Sir Dindo, for sharing your expertise about your field. Sir, here is my question. Since your topic is all about management, right? So, this is my question, sir. What are the behavior you think managers should possess? And what are the types of management you have seen work well in your department? Again, what are the behaviors you think managers should possess, and what are the types of management you have seen work well in your department?
Thank you. And yeah, I think managers should have the skills and ability to most especially balance the uh, the balance the problems with the employees as well as with the business. So it's uh, it's really a group effort where you could be able to achieve what your company wants you to achieve. And in that, so it should always be, um, I mean, the communication should always be there for you to be able to know the real problem within your department, and you would be able to identify if there are any which pertains to either the employees that you have, or either with the operations that you have, or with your guests. So it would managers should definitely try to identify in which areas they are having some problems, and it should always be a win-win solution for not just the concerned persons or operations, but also within the organization, that they should be able to communicate very well. And the management practice that we always are having here in our group would be, actually there's I know I may say it, we're a very unconventional kind of management, is because we deal with the problems directly. We don't wait for board meetings, or either also meetings within the department, but we rather discuss it within ourselves, within the manager levels, and we ask them immediately, and we do not wait for like a weekly meeting for it to be solved, but rather we act on it quickly, because hotel industry is a really a fast-paced kind of business, and the moment that we identify and find a solution on on that kind of problem, we do it immediately. And yeah, the management system of Henan is really a fast-paced one as well. It's really unconventional.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Nolly, for that question. We have another Sir question, Sir Dindo, coming from Sir Michael Villarmino. Sir Michael?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Johanna. So good afternoon again, Sir Dindo.
Good afternoon, sir.
My question, sir, is sorry for calling this out again. So recently, Hinan Palm Resort has been viral due to the incident of having commotion at the pool by a certain group of guests. So lots of people calls out the attention of the resort for failing to control the disrespectful guests causing disturbance at the said establishment. So what is your stand for that issue?
With that, sir, because it primarily involves two guests of ours, and it is in social media. And particularly, that incident is or was triggered by another guest, and not by the lack of security or lack of empathy of the management, but um, the how do I say it? Uh, there are also some types of media publicity or like this viral video that you're seeing that we tend to just ignore it, actually. Not because that we would like to veer away from the issue, but it's because we would like to uh, uh, not only control but to be, how do you say it? Uh, I may say it in Ilonggo, though hindi siya not really right for us to be able to or defend one guest from the other, because based on our investigation, uh, the one who actually posted the video is the one who is at fault. So uh, she did not she took matters in her own hands. So that's why it blew up into proportions also, because she did not respect the procedures of the hotel. And that is why we did slide it off, because it is not for us to defend one guest to the other. So there are just really some times that we need to evaluate also if whether or not we will be giving out explanations to the social media. So we're on to that level that again, sometimes you need not to uh, reply to all those social media accounts that are requesting for explanation.
Thank you so much, Sir Dindo.
Thank you, Sir Michael, for that question. Another question, Sir Dindo, coming from Mame Myra Paradero.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, I just want to ask you about this, your idea about above and beyond service. And follow-up question, as an assistant vice president of the resort, what other innovations you think is needed in order for you to compete with other resorts?
I'd like to answer first the last question that you have. It would really actually be dependent on the innovations that you're saying would actually depend on the level of resort that you would like to be accredited or you'd like to be known for. So with us, we are accredited previously with a four-star accreditation, but now it's um, I think it was put on hold for the re-accreditation of the stars, but rather they give out like Mabuhay host accreditations. And in that, so it would really depend again on which level you would want. So with us, I think we have already the innovations in place, but if you would say that we are gearing towards the five-star rating, we would definitely be having like innovations in in the rooms. If you can see one already in Okada that's having a like the Japanese kind of toilets that they have. You have push buttons and everything, like open and close of the toilet seats. You have even dryers for the toilets, and you have automatic bidets and so on. And there would be innovations in terms of like opening and closing of curtains. You only have one handheld device for your light switches, for curtains, for phone, even deck phones, DECT, deck phones, that what we call, wherein you could be able to, if you are an international traveler, you would be able to bring that kind of cell phone. It's being connected to the hotel's telephone system. You would be able to call your the landline or the mobile even of the country where you are in at no extra cost. But then again, it entails all these innovations. They are readily available. I think we're a very fast-paced kind of industry, and it would just really depend on the management on whether they would be pursuing that kind of innovation or not, because it would definitely entail costs. And the first question you have, sorry, I forgot, ma'am.
It's about above and beyond service. Actually, sir, I was working before in a cruise ship, and we always use this word above and beyond. So I'm just curious if how do you practice this above and beyond service? Thank you, sir.
All right. To answer that question, ma'am, right now, we are gearing also towards really a guest satisfaction. So, above service, what we are doing right now, if there are guests who already tell us that they are having their anniversary or their birthdays for that occasion, we do set up free of charge for them the bedrooms with greetings and also TV greetings, and we would also have let the waiters, dining crew greet them happy birthday and or sing them a happy birthday during either breakfast or dinner, and then we would always extend a little uh, um, extra service in terms of giving their most enjoyable vacation by means of going the extra mile, where sometimes they would ask us for aqua sports activities. It's not already within our scope or within our services, but we would be asking or calling this aqua sports activities supplier, and we would be engaging them in a very safe manner, because of course in here in Boracay, if you could notice also, when you just go out of the beachfront, there are a lot of guys who would tend to sell you a lot of activities, but sometimes we would really ask the guests not to easily give out the information or either transact with them, because there are also some reports that some of these peddlers would be getting money from the guests, but however, they would be a no-show on the next day on their agreed time. So we are letting them know that upon check-in, not also to easily trust these peddlers on the beachfront. And also, in terms of above and beyond service, we try really to, especially for guests who are always billeted with us, we always try to call out their first names so that they would already feel that they are part of the family, and that we would really engage in conversation. Most especially for myself, I would go to the restaurants during breakfast or during dinner. I would ask the guests. We would converse actually, and they would really eventually go back. Be a loyal customer. And last only last week, I was really surprised that one guest of ours He knew me way back 2014, and every time that he was here, he would always take photos of me and him. And I was really surprised that he was able to keep the picture along with him because he said he had a very nice experience with us.
Thank you very much, sir. That's really some interesting and a very informative answer, no? So because amo na siya ang na-miss ko actually when I was working in the industry. That's why I'm very curious enough to ask this question. Thank you very
Correct.
much, sir, for your answer to that
You're
question.
welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
I think
you.
just to add on that, the hotel industry is, or even the cruise ship industry, is really probably I may say uh, though pahiyang-hiyang ma'am no, kay syempre ang iban they just work for salary purposes. But for me, I really enjoy. I mean, the passion is there. I really enjoy talking with a lot of people, especially with international tourists, because you would be able to know how their attitude or even how they would interact with you, and it doesn't pay a lot to even ask them how they are, and eventually you don't know that you would gain a lot of not just experience but also friends, and eventually sometime in the future, you don't know, you would also need them.
You're right. Definitely right, sir. You're really Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, Doc Myra, for that question. And Sir Dindo, thank you very much for answering, for enlightening us.
My
Another
pleasure.
question will be coming from Docky Saibel and Ramirez.
Good afternoon, Sir Dindo.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
So my question is, since there were a lot of repercussions and challenges during the pandemic, and knowing that the tourism industry is very seasonal, what specific strategies did Henan Group of Hotels implement to address issues like downsizing or cutting costs, since there were a lot of travel restrictions during that time and the tourism industry relies so much on tourists?
Well, yeah, we really had or did a hard time actually during the pandemic. Out of our 2,000 employees during the whole pandemic, we just employed about 10% of it, about 200, for the whole 7 properties, so that there would be persons in charge for upkeeping, because most especially during pandemic time, uh, even though there are no guests, but we need to do upkeeping, and even just putting on the television in each room per per week, so that we won't have any problems at all when we opened, even up to cleaning of air conditioning units. We also needed to uh, put it on for several minutes, so that a lot of machines or equipments that we have, we need to maintain them, because it's also going to be high cost for us if not uh, if we hadn't been able to do some maintenance of it. And during the pandemic, since there are only a few guests coming in and also the rates are very low, what we did was not on a skeletal basis, but we, like for example, if we needed 40 personnels in the restaurant, we would employ actually around 80, but their workload or their number of days will be distributed. Instead of them being in the resort almost every day, we have to cut it off by around 18 to 20 days. So we computed those number of days, because we are on a no work, no pay policy. We have to compute either 18 or 20 days for them also to be able to live not really comfortably, but to live off the whole of pandemic. So I know there are a lot of people who, or a lot of employees who hasn't gone back, and we haven't recalled them because there's not really enough um, um, profit, even no, to cover the cost of employment. And so that is what we devised, that so that we could be able to spread the the um, the workforce, we did not just employ the total number of personnel that we need, but we doubled it, but in such a way we limit their number of days to be able to live the time of pandemic. I mean, though at least they would have something, no, not really comfortably as what they have before, but at least they can buy their basic necessities and eat or even feed some of their family. And I think that's the very good solution that we did. And also during the first parts of the pandemic, we of course doled out also groceries, and also we gave them in advance their 13th month pay. And then as much as possible as well, we we had given them for the first few employees that we had during the opening, we had them billeted, or we gave them staff houses, so that to lessen their expenses within the island, because also the cost of living here is quite high. So those are probably the things that we did for or during that pandemic.
Thank you so much, Sir Dindo. Just a follow-up question. Knowing that we already opened the tourism industry earlier this year, so how is your recovery in Henan Resorts or in Henan group of hotels? Was it different na compared to during the pandemic?
Well, I may say it's a little different on the profit side. So if probably we are having like 10,000 to 9,500 average nightly rate per room, we would now have uh, just a mere 4,000, 4,500. So in terms of occupancy, we are still quite high, but the profit is really low because the cost remains to be very high. So in that manner, yes, we enjoy a very high occupancy, but in terms of profit, it's still quite low. But at least it's still good. What we say that at least um, it's not bleeding anymore. You know, you stop the bleeding by even lowering down the rates. So there are a couple of problems, of course, that we encountered because we lowered down the rates. As what the speaker from the Mires earlier said, that the rates sometimes would also determine your market. So we would already get the lower class markets, and sometimes they would tend to abuse the facilities and the amenities that we have. So if you could also have take note, sometimes there are posts in the Facebook page wherein they've been staying here in Henan for a month, and they have collected a lot of shampoo, conditioner, slippers, and all freebies, you know, and that we have to address as well, and we have to what do you say? We must always adhere to the current situation. So we made rules that only one set of amenities to be given out on a daily basis. If they would require more, we still can give them, but at an additional cost. And even sometimes the bucket of ice, we were in our standard, we didn't charge any of those prior, but during this pandemic we did, because mostly some of the guests would have a party inside the room, and they would bring in their own liquor, and they would just really ask for a lot of ice. So you know, it's we our manpower is not yet 100%. We are still on 80% employee returns, but that's why it would really take a lot of effort if in case these guests would be requiring a lot from the resort.
Thank you so much, Sir Dindo. Actually, I actually feel you, Sir Dindo, knowing that I've previously worked in the hospitality industry before, and specifically in the housekeeping department. So it's really not that easy to do upkeeping of rooms. So thank you so much, Sir Dindo, for answering my question.
You're welcome, ma'am. And, oh, sorry. And to add on, also the just like for example, the front office scenario was if you could imagine also that we were dealing before with group tours or travel agents having like 20 rooms in a day. They would check in with just one tour guide. All the documents, all the passports are being collated, and we only talk to one person. And we give out the keys, and we don't see each other anymore. Unlike nowadays, it's all individual travelers, individual families, and before I could not man up probably 6 or even 8 or 10 front office associates in the front desk, but now I do because every guest or every check-in that we have, you need to explain 5 to 10 minutes. So I think that's really a big adjustment also.
Thank you very much, Doc Isabel, for the question. And Sir Dindo, we still have more questions, sir. I hope that it is okay for you.
My pleasure,
We
ma'am.
have
No problem.
Thank you very much. By the way, sir, we have question coming from Altavas College, a BSHM fourth-year student. Her name is Jala May Kawaling. Her questions runs this way. Good afternoon, Mr. Salazar. Do you accept graduating students to undergo internship program to one of your resort? If ever, what are the requirements?
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely do internship programs, and actually, we do it without cost. We try to help out LGUs here and also schools. So all you just need to do is coordinate it with your school, and they'll be the ones to contact us. We're gonna have a memorandum of agreement, and that's it. We don't have any other requirements. We even give you one meal.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Sir Dindo. I am very happy to hear that because I personally one of the OJT coordinator of West Visayas. So hope that if you will going to send our memorandum of agreement, hopefully it will be approved.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much. By the way, sir, we have another question coming from Doki Piñaranda.
Thank you, Doc Johanna. Good afternoon, Sir Dendo.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Actually, this is just same with a question or just a follow-up question from what Doc Isabel has been questioned, but this is a different scenario. I would like to ask, how did Henan Group Resorts manage the impact, especially in the human resource management and finance departments, when the government launched the rehabilitation of the resort island in 2018 after President Duterte called it a cesspool? Boracay was closed to tourists for 6 months that year for cleanup and beach clearing.
All right, very interesting. And yeah, it was really a hard time for us as well. But considering that we have another sister resort in Alona Beach in Bohol, so some of our employees were absorbed over at Bohol area, but most as well took the time off. If Actually, it's very beneficial, not personally, because for the longest time that I've been working here at Henan, it was the only first time that I had a 1 or 2 months vacation. So straight, and nobody's bothering or pestering you. So it was really a welcome rehabilitation and closure for me and my family. We were able to enjoy the other islands in the Philippines. We went to other islands and to experience also their services and facilities. But needless to say, um, I'm not really biased, but of course, when you are already on this kind of standard in a resort industry, you would be able to know and identify also, which in my heart I'd like to help them also grow like Boracay. But it's um, you know it's a lot also that Boracay came from a very sleepy vacation area up until its heyday now, and one also thing is it was the first time also that we encountered renovations. We can do renovations the whole day and night without any guest complaints. So that's the best good thing as well. Because our mother or the first resort that we have, which is the Henan Regency, started 1998, and ever since we are enjoying a very high occupancy. And every time that we do renovations, it's very hard because there would be, well, definitely there would be banging, there would be a lot of noise created by renovation, and so we would have guest complaints, we would have to transfer them to another room the next day. So for that 6 months, it's very welcoming. Not just for, it's a breather. So it's it was high time to renovate for employees who have been working for the most number of years to have 1 month vacation. Wow, it's really heaven. So, but for the for the company itself, well, we were really lucky enough because we had a Bohol. So the ones who supplement us with compensation or with salaries are our Bohol property. So we didn't really actually felt that it was a closure because our salaries at that time did not also or was not lessened. So we were still enjoying the same compensation that we had. Only that the company was, of course, losing, and with the hope that after 6 months, with all the rehabilitation, we could gain back actually all that we have lost in terms of profit. But yeah, I don't think that the government's initiative also to clean up Boracay is bad. But although we had suggestions supposedly that they could have made it into phases, or like for example station 1, 2, and 3, if all those establishments were not being able to adhere to their regulations, they should only have been the ones who have being closed, but the whole island. But probably they had their own reasons as well, and well, it turned out to be very good. And the LGU, I may say, has been very lax on that time to just had a lot of buildings sprung up from every corner. So it was a wake-up call as well.
Thank you, sir, for your very brilliant answer. I find now that Hainan Group of Companies is a very stable company, since that closure gives you an opportunity to enjoy and have a good vacation, and of course also also an opportunity to your other properties in Bohol to have higher income.
That's right, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I agree to that, Ma'am Meriche. Thank you for raising that question. Sir Dindo, we have another question coming from Sister Marley Satur.
Good afternoon once again, Sir Dindo. Your resume states that you are the chairman of the Boracay Foundation Incorporated, which was established in 1996 as a nonprofit, non-stock association. Now, I just want to ask, how did you achieve your objectives or implement your advocacies of sustaining the island's environmental, business, and tourism industry? I want to know more about the association.
Thank you, sister. With Boracay Foundation, we have members which are part of the LGU, more specifically with Sangguniang Bayan members, and they have been able to, well, like for example, the one ordinance that they did pass is the um, uh, not using single-use plastics, and it's being implemented now in the island, and it's a very welcome ordinance as well, not just to lower the cost of operation in Boracay. To give you one specific example, where we previously give out individual bottled water to every guest every day. So if you can imagine, with 1,600 rooms, you would multiply that to, well, let's say if even 100% in a day, we give out 3,200 plastic bottles in a day. You multiply that by 365 days, it's really a lot. And it would, well, definitely in the garbage area, there would be loads and loads of plastic containers. Not just that, there's also like amenities, and well, those small tubes, it would also create a lot of impact in the single-use plastics. And that is why we have also implemented the dispensers, the refillable dispensers for our body wash and also shampoo and conditioner. And uh, with uh, with the plastic bottles, the mineral water, I can fairly say that it did a really good job, because with the cost, I may say we have saved over 1 million in a year, just by giving out pitchers, water pitchers, to each and every room. And we would have dispensers at every hallway that we have. So the guests also appreciated it, wherein we put notes in the room that this is also in observance and in support of the local government units ordinance, wherein to ban the use of single-use plastics. And also we would have programs on beach cleanup every month. And we do not just the beach cleanup, but also on the deep sea, on the beach, we do have scuba divers who does scuba cleaning every month as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sister.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Marley. We have another question coming from Doki Johanna Haviliana.
Sir Dinda, I have question po.
Yes, ma'am. Good
Have
afternoon.
you experienced po the massive turnover of manpower? If in case, how will you able to deal with it?
Sorry again, ma'am.
Have you experienced po the massive turnover of manpower, and how did you overcome it, or how do you resolve it?
All right. When you say massive turnover, it would mean probably for me a turnover within a year, or 2 years probably. But we have had safeguards with regards to that. And first would be giving uh, a contract for the employees for a minimum of 2 years. And then we do incentivize them, not just with a service charge, because we are a firm believer also that um, um, I mean, everything should be rewarded in terms of money. It most especially with fresh graduates, it would be one tendency that they would stay in the company if they're well compensated. So meaning, aside from the salaries that they get, they would have receive service charges that's almost half, or even sometimes 3/4 of what they are receiving with their regular salaries. And thereby, I may say that with those kind of strategies that we have, we normally don't have a lot of massive turnovers. It would probably be just on the front desk itself, because the uh, the workload of the front office associates are really quite hard, and would always be in contact with the guest, and they would receive a lot of complaints. So probably they are resigning because of the hardships that they would encounter. So it would really differ from one department to the other. But I may say it, you know, That's one other thing that nowadays I would barely see employee um, uh, being loyal to the company, being dedicated. But what I mean is, they would just finish their 2 years contract and they would move on. So, but that's really natural. But for me, I still believe that uh, your hardships would be rewarded, just what I gone through. So I stayed with the company. I worked hard. I let the management know my skills and what I'm capable of. So they recognized it. So that's why I hope that the new generation would be able to, especially the YZ and the millennials, would be able to have that kind of attitude. If and only if they have already decided on which kind of career they would like to be associated with. I hope that they stay on, you know, even with you start from the very lowest rank. If you take pride on what you do and you do it best, there's really no reason for the management not to recognize you and escalate or give you a promotion. So that's what we really believe in. All the managers here came from the ranks, except that those that we really need to have some managers with, with where we did not had any applicants from the ranks. So we do value loyalty, and we do value the care that they give to the company. So that's what we inculcate all to them, and we remain really fair in all of the dealings of the employees. So we do communicate with them. We ask them what their problems are. We give them what is right for them. We evaluate, not just we give out memorandums or disciplinary actions, but of course we do hear out, and we give decisions fairly with the employees. So I think that's our strength in this company, that even the lowest of ranks can go up directly to the management. They don't need to report to their immediate manager, but instead they could just message us directly, even to the owner, and they will be heard.
Thank you very much, Ferdinand.
Thank you so much, Miss Johanna. I think we have another question coming from Sir Romel Abaldonado. Sir Dindo, are you still okay?
Yes, definitely. Keep it rolling.
Sir Romel? While waiting for Sir Romel, let's have Ma'am Mainen. Ma'am Mainen, are you there?
Yes, Doc Jet. Good afternoon, Sir Dindo.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay, so my question is, since most of our participants here in the webinar are tourism and hospitality management students who may wish to be part of Henan Resort, so any advice that you can give them? Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, the first thing I would suggest to them, if it's a degree that they are happy with, most especially with tourism, you take it by heart, and not just because your parents or your auntie or the one who pays for your schooling is inclined to study hospitality industry. Then, if there is passion, I think that's the main um, uh, characteristic that we are looking for. If you have do passion for being in the hospitality industry, then it's the most important thing for you to be able to rose up from the ranks. And with us, even a high school graduate, we do accept them as long as they're really hardworking and very um, really wants to learn about the hospitality industry. We really welcome them. We don't need students or employees who really excel at school, because we believe that skills is being continued or continuously being developed as you gain experience.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Dindo, for that very informative answer to the question.
And as well, thank you so much. Also, Ma'am Maynen. I think I've seen hands raising earlier. Ma'am Azel, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay.
Hi, sir. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is, what is your marketing strategy to make your resort known? And what strategy did you use to compete with other famous resort in Boracay?
All right. Very good question, and we stand by our um, motto, if what you say is something like you get the best value for your money. So, meaning our marketing would speak for itself because, like, let's say, the best value for money is something that you pay that you are satisfied with the service and with the rooms that's being given to you, and meaning you don't pay a much higher price for a 4-star amenities and rooms. So we give you 5-star resort amenities and services, but with the price of a 4-star. So
Okay.
we are we do keep our rooms fairly new. We are given a task by the owner to maintain it to a year old or even months old, so that whenever you are billeted here with us, you would get your money's worth. Of course, you have sacrificed and saved up for it, so you need to make the most of it. And yeah, the marketing strategy, we would always listen to our guests. We do take criticisms constructively. We do not fear guest complaints, because that is the only way that we would be able to know what our guests really needs, and we listen to them as well. We act swiftly, and we change the procedures that deems changing. So um, bottom line, we listen to our guests. That is why we are here. We are the most preferred brand in Boracay, because um, you may say you are really satisfied with what we are giving you.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am.
And actually hope to experience that service soon, Sir Dindo. So we have another question from Mr. Romel Abaldonado once again.
Hi, Sir Dindo. Good afternoon.
Sir, good afternoon again.
Yeah, sir, here is my question. It's very nice that you are aiming to give value and creating brand to your clients. So what is your insight with the different institutions that they are wanted to deploy students for their internship to your good establishment? Are you accepting MOA from selected institutions? If that's so, is this program gives an advantage or disadvantage to your establishment?
Yes, we do give out MOAs for those schools that are intending to have their internship programs with us. It is definitely an advantage, not just because we would be saving up from the cost of manpower, but also we are trying to invest also with the students, wherein they would be able to learn what is being studied in the classroom. It's going to be applied in real life, and this is where I would say that I gained my experience, and it is really beneficial, and you would have a clear picture of what you have decided, and what your aspirations in life is, if it's really meant for you. And we do invest in that because we would also need a lot of employees who are going to be dedicated and really aspiring to be a hotelier.
Thank you so much, Sir Dindo.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Romel. We have a question from our webinar chairperson, Mr. Michael M. Bellarmino.
Hi, good afternoon again, Sir Dindo. So,
Yes, sir.
it is my great pleasure because I am the internship program coordinator for 11 years. And some of my graduate students have been working one of your resorts in Boracay.
Oh.
And hopefully this internship, I will going to visit again and deploy all my graduating students. But my
Yes,
question
sir.
is,
You're most welcome.
you already have 7 resorts, I guess, and
That's right.
the latest launch is the Boracay Park Resort, sir. Am I
That's
right?
right. That's
So,
right.
sir, my question is just simple. Is all the resorts of Henan following one rule or standard in operations of all the hotels?
Yes, sir. We all do have one rule, and we don't have actually a rule book. So that is why the management or the higher management is um, really being tested on a day-to-day basis. We would just have a simple, fair rule on dealing with complaints, with dealing with the operations, and that is how we would be able to rate the managers if they're really uh, um, no, karapat dapat no on that certain position or level, and that's what the owner is also saying, that whether we have those standards in place, but if you see that it is not necessary or is not effective anymore, then we should create another one. It doesn't need to be on writing. I mean, if you have a certain company policy, that should and always be adaptable to change.
Thank you, sir.
Just to give you a concrete example also, um, if there are any guest complaints, it would have really different scenarios every day. Even though, like for example, they complain about their rooms, it's not being cleaned, or something like they were not given enough service. It's a really different situation every day. So the decision probably is, like for example, uh, they were not given their rooms on time, so we would investigate on that, and if we find ourselves at fault, then we would definitely compensate them. But in case that the rooms were given, uh, it is what is being stated in the website, like they just availed of the superior room, that's the least room category that we have, but they were expecting a lot more, and then they would say, oh no, I saw in your website that it's this and so we would always go back on that situation, wherein we gave them also enough consideration. But at the end of the day, if the guest I mean, if the guests are asking too much also, and it's not being on it, if it's not within the agreement that we did, we would definitely decline it, and we would definitely not tolerate such because tolerate how do you say it, ang do mga nagapang ano lang bala sir, nagapang test out lang sa imo nga sang imo nga ah, wag ni daw gusto lang bala mag o take advantage no sa situation, and so we do not give in to those. We are very fair. We will accept if we are at fault, but on the next time around, if there are situations that seems to be that we need to stand up our ground, so uh, eventually we will deal with it. But hindi kami bala sir nagapadala-dala for sa iban lang nga gusto lang maninggit, para lang makuha ang gusto nila. So ang things gina-evaluate gid siya on a day-to-day basis, and it's up to the managers to really see to it that the company will not suffer, or either the guests will be treated fairly.
Follow-up question, sir. One
Yes,
more.
sir.
So, do you have any idea if Henan will going to open another resort in Boracay?
We are trying to build another one pending the ECC approval. So it would be on the farthest end of Station 1. So it's going to be actually our high-end resort. So we tend to situate ourselves in the market as just a mid-class resort as of the moment.
Thank you, Sir Lindo.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sir Michael. And lastly, we do have a question from Dr. Roslyn, our webinar co-chair person.
Hello, good afternoon, Sir Dindo.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
If you regard the Henan Group of Resorts as a middle class hotel, I don't know what will be your high class hotel. I cannot imagine. Okay, so my question runs this way, sir. What do you think are the best management practices that you are practicing in the Henan Group of Resorts that sets you apart from the other well-known island hotel resorts in the Philippines?
All right. For us in the management, um, um, we are, how do you say? I think it's a big, again, it's unconventional, and the owner is always in the resort, and the decisions are like he is doing a micromanagement. In a way, for us, it works because he knows very well how to manage the business. I really don't know also if it would be much more effective if we are being run like an international company, or the standards are, with kumbaga daw, in detail, or we would have like a guidebook. But for my experience, I would say that micromanagement is the best way for this one, primarily because the owner knows how to do the business. So he does a lot of things, not just um, uh, giving out rules, but also he understands it. He situates himself as being like a guest, so that we would be able to give the best of what the services can offer. And example is, again, would be a management, a micromanagement style of his, wherein there are no board meetings, or we still don't have the stockholders to decide on it, but rather it would just be one person who decides on it, because again, he is very knowledgeable, not just in terms of operations, but also he would uh, ask our opinions, and we would discuss it, and if it's very beneficial to the company, he would gladly implement the opinion that you, or the idea that you'd like to convey to him. So he's very uh, I don't know, he's very hands-on.
Hands-on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he even would be um he would even accept his um, mistakes if it is deemed necessary, and but of course, 90% he would always be right. But the most important thing is, even if it's micromanaged, he still accepts our opinions and ideas.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for
You're
answering
welcome,
my
ma'am.
question. So I don't have any follow-up questions, sir. I hope to be uh, going there on vacation one of these days.
See
Thank
you
you, Sir
around, ma'am.
Dindo.
You're welcome.
And I'll go with you, Ma'am Roslyn. Anyway, we actually have a follow-up question coming from Ma'am Maynen. Ma'am Maynen?
Yes, Doki. Actually, this is a different question. Because, sir, by the way, Sir Dito, good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon again, ma'am.
Okay, so you have mentioned earlier about guests to complain just to get what they wanted, right? So I would like to ask your thoughts on what they call guest service recovery.
Well, then definitely, if it says guest service recovery, it would mean that the company or the hotel is going to be at fault. So, um, by all means, again, there are complaints. There are several types of complaints. Sometimes there are guests that who would like just to air out their disappointment with their current stay and would probably need to have a better solution. So in that scenario, we are more actually very uh, how do you say, giving in terms of those guests who air out their problems, who tell us what their problems are, especially with the current stay, and we would address it point on point on what they are complaining. So if the second other guest who would complain would definitely blurt out to you the compensation, instantaneously, the compensation that they need. So with that, we kind of back off from that kind of conversation because I mean, they have already given their um, demands. So we would think otherwise on what really is the problem, if it's really a shortcoming on our part, or just because they would want some compensation. And in that scenario, we would politely decline what they are trying to ask from us. So there would be times that you know uh, they would really be asking for compensation, and we say, ma'am, we've given you the rooms that you reserved. Is there any problem? I can show you other rooms which might be to your liking, and if there are any um, incidents that needs to be resolved, then we address to it on that certain issue as well. But if they're asking, like for example, they don't like the room because it doesn't have any view, or it doesn't have a view of the pool, but ma'am, that's the one that you paid. If you are going to upgrade to another room, then it would cost you um, several hundred pesos. We would be gladly upgrade you, but as of the meantime, we cannot give it to you for free. We say it directly. It's more of an approach that we have been practicing, and I think it is effective also. And when guests would be able to, sometimes really blurt out, cursing words, and you would just be there, um, and trying to remind them again that, ma'am, I'm here to help you. We could talk things over. You do it politely still, although inside you are really uh, on a defensive mood. So in that regards, the uh, when we are tasked to do a service recovery, we would always either politely give them what they want if we are at fault, or politely decline them if they're really unreasonable.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Dindo.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma'am Maynan, and thank you once again, Sir Dindo, for the insights and for the enthusiasm of answering all the questions. And this time now, allow us to acknowledge your time and effort as our fourth speaker. And at this point, may I request Sir Romel V. Avaldonado, MBA HM, our Publicity and Promotion Chairperson, to do the awarding of Certificate of Appreciation.
Guimaras State University Graduate School, Doctor of Management, major in Business Administration. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Dindo Miguel Martin F. Salazar for the gift of time and expertise as a resource speaker during the DMBA 400 webinar on development of organization and management, theories and practices with the theme organizational development and best practices of Henan Group of Resorts, held on August 2022 via Zoom, given this 20th day of August 2022. Signed, Michael M. Villarmino, MBA HM Webinar Chairperson. Signed, Roslyn G. Abuan, MBA Webinar Co-Chairperson. Signed, Gina B. Montes, EDD, PhD, BM, DMBA 400 Professor. Signed, Annalyn A. Hanaban, DMBA HRM, DMBA Program Head. And signed, Early M. Martier, PhD, Dean of Graduate School. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome,
Sir
sir.
Romel. Once again, virtual round of applause to Mr. Dindo Miguel Martin F. Salazar as the Assistant Vice President of Boracay Resort, Operations of Henan Group of Resorts. Thank you, sir. We've learned a lot from you.
Thank
And
you.
at
I
this
really hope
point,
so.
allow
Dindo.
us to have a group photo op to be headed by Doki Nolly B. Diaz Jr.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible? Okay,
Yes. Yes,
okay.
Doc.
Thank you so much to our speaker, Mr. Dindo, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with regards with your topic. So this afternoon, I would like to inform all participants our e-evaluation is already posted in our group chat. Don't forget to fill out the e-evaluation in order for you to avail or to get or receive our fourth certificate for today's webinar. Again, you're going to fill out the e-evaluation to get the fourth certificate for today's webinar. And also, I would like to request everybody to please kindly turn on all your cameras for the photo opportunity. Okay? Please kindly turn on all your cameras. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile everybody. Next panel, please. 1, 2, 3, smile. Next panel, please. 1, 2, 3, smile. Last one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, all participants, please kindly turn off your cameras. The working committees, together with our advisor and our dear speaker, we'll be having our own photo. Okay? So please kindly turn off your camera as well as your microphone. Yes, medyo may gatagol-tagol. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile everybody. One more time. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you so much, Sir Dindo.
Thank
Back to
you
you,
so
Sir.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much, Sir Dindo.
Always a
I will
pleasure.
just
Thank you
keep
for
in touch
inviting
with
us again.
you from the bottom of
Thank you
our
so
hearts.
much,
Thank
Sir
you so
Dindo.
much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Erdindo, once
sir.
again.
Thank
And
you.
just a little reminder, little
Thank you,
friendly
sir.
reminder, dear participants, that once again, our links for the e-evaluation is at our Zoom chat box. So answering these are the basis of your certificates. At this point in time, let us have our webinar chairperson, Michael M. Villarmino, MBHM, for the awarding of e-certificate of participation.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jet. So, awarding of certificate of participations. So let me read first the citation of the certificate. So Guimaras State University Graduate School, Doctor of Management, major in Business Administration. Certificate of participation is given to Roslyn G. To Roslyn G. Abuan, MBA, for having actively participated during the DMBA 400 development of organizations and management theories and practice webinar held on August 20, 2022 via Zoom, given on this 20th day of August of the year 2022. Signed, Michael M. Bellarmino, MBA HM, yours truly, webinar chairperson. Signed, Roslyn G. Abuan, MBA, webinar co-chairperson. Signed, Gina B. Montes, ED, PhD, BM, DMBA 400 professor. Signed, Annalyn A. Hanaban, DMBA HRM, our DMBA program head. Signed, Early MRT PhD, Dean of Graduate School. Also, certificate of participation is given to Maini G. Lubugin, MBA. Certificate of participation is also given to Miss Sybil Ann A. Ramirez, MBA HTM CGSP. Also, certificate of participation is given to Sister Marley A. Satur, ARLPTMM. Jet L. Disukatan, MBA. Johanna Grace G. Habiliana, MBA. And Noli B. Diaz Jr., MBA. Mirichi S. Piñaranda, MM. Myra P. Paradero, MMHRM. Santa Rinia C. Tubalinal, MBA. Anthony E. Española, MSHM. Romel V. Abaldonado, MBA HM. Azel M. Arsenas, MHM. Gabi P. Palacios, MD, MBA HA, CHA. J. Martin B. Biclar, MBA. Thank you so much, guys. Back to you, Sir Jet.
Congratulations to my participants and committee. At this point in time, we will have the awarding of Certificate of Recognition to be given to us by our DMBA 400 professor, Dr. Gina B. Montes.
At this point, we would like to give affirmation and commendation to the hardworking, committed, and passionate men and women of the Doctor of Management in Business Administration, the MBA 400, the development of organization and management theories and practice of Guimaras State University Graduate School. The working force behind the success of today's webinar. The citation reads, please, i-focus nyo, hindi ko kakita. Parte kagamitoy sa babaw. Suno lang sa masagulo ko ha. Guimaras State University, Doctor of Management and Business Administration, would like to give the certificate of recognition to all the working committees for their significant contribution and service in realization of the DMBA 400 Development of Organization and Management Theories and Practice webinar, which is being held today via Zoom. So, the webinar, grabe man ba? Ako na lang to awards ha, hindi ko kakita sa inyong screen. The webinar chairperson, Michael Bellarmino. MBA HM. At the same time, the e-poster and Zoom background chairperson. For the technical arrangement chairperson and webinar co-chairperson, Roslyn G. Abuan, MBA. For the technical arrangement chairperson, Maynen G. Lubugin, MBA. For the technical arrangement chairperson, Anthony Y. Espanola, MSHM. To the invitation, budget and finance chairperson, Johanna Grace G. Haviliana, MBA. To the e-program chairperson, Santa Renea C. Tubalinal, MBA. To the e-program chairperson, Ishel M. Arsenas, MHM. To the e-certificate and e-registration chairperson, Cybel Ann A. Ramirez, MBA HTM, CGSP. To the e-certificate and e-registration chairperson, Sister Marley A. Sator, ARLPTMM. To the e-evaluation chairperson, Noli B. Diaz Jr., MBA. To the documentation and compilation chairperson, Myra P. Paradero, MMHRM. To the documentation and compilation chairperson, Dr. Gabi P. Palacios, MBA HACHA. To the documentation and compilation chairperson, Meriche S. Peñaranda, MM. To the promotion and publicity chairperson, Romel V. Abaldonado, MBA HM. To the promotion and publicity chairperson, J. Martin B. Biclar, MBA. To the master of ceremony, Jet L. Disukatan, MBA. To all the hardworking committee, to each and every one of you, I salute on your great job done, on your perseverance, your passion, your persistence, your resiliency, your resourcefulness, and of course, your love, your passion, your burning desire to come up with your best forward and your best effort with all the intervention, with all the eventualities of the power interruption, of the power outrage in most of our places. The Rojas people will migrate to some other place. Then sister will migrate to other places. I have also to migrate to other place because of the whole day brownout. And that until tomorrow it will still be brown out. So I salute each one of you. During the prayer, I was very, very emotional because I prayed so hard that we can successfully implement this webinar. And thanks be to God, to His glory, because after all that we have encountered and experienced, we successfully made it. And I'm truly proud and I'm very happy for each and every one of you. I would wish to have the feedbacking, but I'm not really feeling well. Would that be okay? Utang ko lang yung feedbacking.
Okay, good doc.
You need to
Okay.
rest. You need to
Okay,
rest.
so take a rest. Still
Yeah.
have another day tomorrow.
Yeah, we will have another big day tomorrow. And then I'm sorry I was not able to congrats after the first speaker, the task that you have done. I do not have any more the power to type. So I would like to ask an apology. And to each one of you, of which I will be sending congratulatory individually to you individually, PMU, my congratulatory message. I doubt that I can do it by now. So my apology for that. I know that most of you will still be going back to your places, and if I will have the feedbacking, many of you cannot attend because you have to go back where you belong. You have still to travel. So therefore, if time will allow and if time will permit, we will be doing the feedbacking all together tomorrow. But don't worry, I already take note of everything. I take note of the things we need to improve and of the things you're very good at and you're excellent at. I still do my job. I still have my power notebook with me. So I hope that our participants tomorrow, I am afraid that if we will not be reaching over 100, I hope and pray that you will still do recruit probably late afternoon and maybe in the evening so that we can also have more participants for tomorrow. And my only request for those who have not paid with your budget and finance officer, please settle your account because your finance and budget officer will send the money to all our speakers. So hindi man pwede nga balunta ang speaker nga. Pwede utang lang anay. Pwede buwas lang kami mabayad. Pwede sa dasong semana lang kami mabayad. So Sister Marley had the listing of those who have not paid. And I think ang listing ni Sister Marley, amo man na ang listing ni Johanna, kay parehos malang sila nga 11 kag 11 ang nakabayad. So panuktok ako da sa inyo mga dughan na my God, may 74 participants patagali ko.
Kanidok.
Ma'am, we're not yet done.
Yes. Yes, oo. Anyway, I would like to congratulate all the students who have attended, particularly to the Altavas College students. I take note, there are 6 questions coming from the students of Altavas College. So congratulations for that. Now, great job done. You're oozing with confidence. You ask questions. And for those who have attended from the different colleges and universities, thank you so much for your attendance. Just answer the 4E evaluation and the faculty in charge will be giving you your 4 certificates. Your 4 certificates because we have also 4 speakers. So congratulations. You have your 4 certificates. And tomorrow is another day. I hope that those who have attended today, will still be attending tomorrow. I think Doki Santa will make pahabol, no? Na to have also the 3 blank certificates, blank meaning without the names, so that the attendees for tomorrow will be happy. They will be they will learn because listening from the expert, from the speakers, we cannot learn it in our inside classroom activity because the globe and the world is our classroom. That's why we have this webinar, because we are learning. We are learning from the expert, and we always grab the opportunity to listen, to write some notes, to ask particular questions, and make baon the good inputs and the good things that we have. And we will not just store that in ourselves, but rather share that to others, no? Share that to others. So for the 74 who are still with us, ilan sila kabilog? 74, I think.
67.
Now 67. Thank you so much for your attendance. And Duki Jet, ano na, we can have them leave the room. We can request them to leave the room already. Or nag-answer pa sila sa e-evaluation.
Closing remarks pa, Doc. Hindi.
Sorry. Yes. O sige, Doki Jet, take it away.
Doki Jet. Proceed na lang ko, Doc. Okay, a blessed and pleasant afternoon to everyone. allow me to extend my utmost gratitude and appreciation to the following persons. First, to our distinguished resource speakers, namely Dr. Mercedes A. Young, Captain Antonio Borghetti Jr., Honorable Paulo L. Tirador, and Mr. Dindo Miguel Martin Salazar for sharing their valuable time and expertise with us today. Second, to all the committee chairpersons for your hard work and cooperation in order to make this webinar a success. Third, to our ever supportive and energetic professor, Dr. Gina B. Montes, whose untiring efforts and support have been beyond great in motivating and inspiring us. And finally, to everyone else who have participated and were here with us today from the start and until this time. I am very well pleased with how everyone participated in this webinar, despite of our usual conflicting commitments with work, home, and professional engagements. For this, I am truly thankful. How I wish that we could continue listening and learning more, but I am really confident that with this opportunity, everyone has gained a considerable and beneficial knowledge from the different and broad professional experiences shared to us by our distinguished resource speakers, making them worthy of our admiration, praise, and respect. Before I call this a day, I would like to leave you with this quote from former US President Ronald Reagan. There are no great limits to growth because there are no limits to human intelligence, imagination, and wonder. Once again, on behalf of the DMBA 400 class, my sincerest thanks to all of you and congratulations to all of us for a day well spent. May God's amazing grace be with us all. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day. Have a nice day, po.
Dukijet, ara ka pa. We still have
Ma'am, nadula ang internet ko. So, rigid. Buombot.
we
Anong
still have
tapos na?
59 participants. They can leave the chat room. I think ng iban may nag-raise pa hand ba may ambag sila. Dukijet, please request.
So thank you so much. Once again, our webinar co-chairperson. So let's call it a day. I am Teacher Jet, and I have been your host for today. Thank you so much, our dear participants, students, teachers, faculty, and other personnel coming from different offices. Thank you so much once again. Have a blessed day ahead of you.
Nagwa na sila, Jet.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Amat sila, ma'am.
Thank you so much, participants, dear students.
Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
students.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
students.
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much,
yes, our
webinar chairperson, Lucky Michael, Lucky Roslyn. Thank you. Your baptism of fire for your tech arrangement, like with Anton and Nolly. No, I'm so grateful to all of you. And of course, Lucky Michael, I know you're also amateur, so salamat kid nga madamo. And to all the working committees nga tanan, salamat kid sa inyo nga tanan. So, okay lang sa inyo if we call it a day?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Doc.
What's your pleasure? What's your pleasure?
We'll save the energy for
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Doki,
Doc.
Sister Marley, can you please lead our ending prayer, sister, so that we can go back to where we belong? To where we belong, we will still need to travel. Sister? Kaya ka pa?
Ay, Doc, Sheena, may I add lang po, I would like to ask Doc Roslyn if pwede same time lang Japon tomorrow, Doc. Pero I am not confident if I will be the host na sa Zoom meeting room since brown out was sa San Carlos po.
Doki Saibel, thank you so much for being our angel. You rescue us a lot.
No worries po, Doc. If okay lang, Doc Roslyn, if kung siga na sa inyo ha, co-host lang Japon ko para maka-assist Japon ko, pero I will just use my phone tomorrow.
Pwede man si Doc Kinoli ang himuon